back fluffy again. And I'm like, yeah, fuck off. How about you don't touch my fucking face and tell me that I'm getting basketball face again? I'm well aware that my puff is back, thanks.
Yeah,
sorry, it's my rant over.
No, it's okay. I feel the exact same way. It's one of the things I hate suffering to get death face, but I love having a sunken in face. I don't think it looks great or anything.
Yeah.
I don't know how to put it. It almost feels like I know I worked my fucking ass off and I could see it in my face every time I look in the mirror.
Well, I do prefer my face when it's sunken in. Like I photograph better. I hold up my phone with my IG stories. I'm like, oh, I look half decent here. And then like a day later, I'm like,
yeah, but not, yeah, but not me. I'm like, because my shit gets like sunken in right here, like deep. And it looks like I look like a cancer patient. So I fell back out a little bit.
So mine sinks in, and so I just look normal. Like I look Italian, and then one day after the show, I look Chinese again. I'm like, oh, this is shit. I'm Italian one day a year.
I'm Chinese after every show. Everybody looks Chinese after every show.
Yeah, but I look Chinese year round.
Yeah.
Until one day before the show, then I take a diuretic and my face goes like.
You know how crazy it is? Like the feeling, people who don't compete won't understand this, but so you're on a diet and you're getting shredded, and then you have like a cheat meal and you feel okay. You still wake up the next morning, you feel good. But if you have another cheat meal and you start to feel like a little bit bloated, all of a sudden you think in your head, you look like complete dog shit.
Yeah.
But really nothing has changed. You have this like feeling in your mind. You're like, oh, like if before you look in the mirror, you're like, I look like complete shit. And then you look in the mirror and you're like, oh, it's like not that different. Like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Right. But it's like, you get this feeling. It's really strange. Like food can like trigger all these different emotions.
Oh, yeah, I'm like super paranoid about what I eat. And because obviously we had Denise's birthday and I'm like, whoa. And so I've got some people coming in today to do some filming for me for the next 5 days. So I'm like, shit. Like I just spent the last 3 days eating like a complete arsehole. And like you said, you can get away with like maybe 1 or 2 meals and you don't look too bad. But then I'm like, oh, it gets to Tuesday and I'm like, I might need to start reining it back in a little bit just because I've got people coming in. I'm filming. We're doing some new product stuff, which everyone will be aware of pretty soon, but I can't say anything about. But, it's... So, like, last night, then there was a barbecue at my wife's family place. Oh, we have a guest. Who's coming on?
Ian.
Hey.
So, go on. So, what's up, Ian? How are you, man? Can't hear you.
Yeah, so I'm like, well, I can't get away with 3 days of bad eating. Like 2 days, I did 1.5 days of bad eating for her birthday. And then I started to rein it back in a bit just to drop off some of that water puff. Because after the second day of just eating junk post-show, then you're just taking the piss then, right?
Yeah. Ian, what's going on, man? How are you?
What's up? How you guys doing?
Good. Can I ask you guys a question? Well, Ian, you probably don't feel this way because you're a genetic freak, but so let's say you're on a prep and you get to like that shredded point. Once it starts to go away, I don't feel like I can catch it. Like I can't bring it back.
Like post show.
Yeah. I try my hardest. So like, for example, so once I decided I wasn't going to do the show, I'm a big like emotional eater. So I stuffed my face like a slob for like 2 days.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this looks really bad. I got to get like back in shape. Like I don't want to look like a fat pig. But even if I clean things up, it's like almost too late. Like my body start to drift off into like this shit zone.
No, I agree. I'm the same like that. Like once you get to a certain point, there's like a point of no return with that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
Once you like pass that threshold, like it's very tough to get back to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't.
That's why I always get I always get like confused when guys are doing like shows almost like 3-4 weeks apart. I'm like, oh, that would kill me. Like 2 weeks apart I could deal with, but that 4 week, 5 week difference.
Holding it, yeah.
I find 4 weeks, 5 weeks, like that's ideal for me. I like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you
Like
do?
I find that's enough time that I like, have that week post show that if there's any water, residual kind of from the diuretics, whatever, I have a week to settle that out. And then I have another week to kind of like, get back in the groove of things. And then, it's like, it's just enough time. Once you start to get like weeks, then it feels a little monotonous, but I find like that 3 to 5 is a pretty sweet spot for me, at least.
For me, it's, I don't care if the show's a week away or 3 or 4 weeks away. I've held conditioning, but if there's no show and I start eating and I go off all my gear and everything, I can't, no matter what, I don't think I can bring it back. It's like, I got to go back into like full prep mode, like later. so it's just,
yeah.
Because that's what's happening to me now. I look in the mirror, I'm like, how the fuck did I diet for 14 weeks? And it's been like 5 days and it's gone.
It feels like it's gone.
It's gone. I look like shit. Like I look like complete crap already. I'm like, what the fuck? How did that happen?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, majority of that's just going to be water and stuff. You obviously haven't accumulated that much body fat in that time, but.
No, I think I did. I mean,
you went hard, eh?
Like, dude, when I tell you, okay, this is the thing. This is when I say I'm an emotional eater, I mean, like I fucking go hard. Like I get depressed and I'll just sit there. Basically, let's just say this. Like I called Skip the Dishes for like 4 different restaurants.
In one evening.
Yeah, oh yeah, they all showed up together. Like all the cars showed up at the same time.
Looked like you're having a house party.
Like fucking like Tim Hortons showed up, and then like fucking Baskin Robbins showed up, and like anyway, that happened for like 2 or 3 days in a row, and then I realized this can't be good for my health either.
No.
So yeah, so
it's like stop doing it because you're health and then you like shit. It's got to counterintuitive, eh?
Yeah. So, but like it was just an emotional thing, It's like it sucks. Like anyway, I don't want to get too far into it, but I was like, fuck this, fuck everything. It's kind of one of those things where you just throw your fucking hands up in the air and you're like, fuck it all, right?
Yeah.
And then after a couple of days, I came around. I'm like, okay, this is not going to work health wise or appearance wise or like it's not helping anything.
No, of course not.
Yeah, especially if you're talking about kidneys and blood pressure, that's what you really want to keep an eye on.
That's what actually scared me the most was the second night I had eaten a bunch of shit. And like you ever lay your head down to fucking rest and like you can feel your heartbeat in your head?
In your head, yeah.
Yeah. It was one of those. And I'm like, I think I ate way too much fucking food, man. It's not a good.
When you can hear your own pulse.
Feel it like a drum in your head, yeah.
Yeah, so I got up the next day and I got back in the cardio and I got put together a proper diet and shit. So I'm back on track. But you know what? I just want to touch on it real quickly because I've got so many messages from people. Like 98% of people haven't asked what it is. They've just been supportive and been like, cool, man, you're doing what's right for you.
Yeah. But
there are people that want to know and it's cool. I think it's an honest thing to want to know. Basically, I'll keep it vague, and I'll give enough information. So I had some kidney issues and some blood pressure issues early in August 2019. I took care of the blood pressure issues, got my kidneys back on track. It was an acute issue that we had been able to fix. It wasn't a chronic issue. And then I think the stress of the prep is what kind of sunk my kidney numbers. Mm-hmm. And it was actually Ben that I talked to. Ben, you have a friend who does dialysis, right? Mm. You don't have to mention the name, but Ben has a friend who does dialysis.
Well, he's public. He puts it on his stories when he's on. Yeah. So he's Steve Gentili. He owns Indy City Barbell Club.
Okay.
So you would have trained there when you went to India, I guess. The blue and yellow gym.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, he's talking to you.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember.
Indy City Barbell Club. The guy that owns that.
Okay, yeah.
He's Steve Jones. He's a big powerlifter, but he's got a genetic issue with his kidneys. Anyway, so that's what first.
So basically, I called Ben and I said, "Look, this is where I'm at." And the thing with your kidneys is when you reach a certain point. For those of you who don't know, when you reach a certain point, it's hard to reverse.
Yeah.
Or not even. It's really hard to reverse, but it's hard to stop. Like if there's a cascade effect of your kidneys getting worse, there's a period where you can stop it and control what's happening. And there's a period once it goes past that point, you can't stop anything. And it will just keep going until you end up in dialysis. And I'm at a point where I can still maintain and stay healthy. But if it goes any further, I'm fucked. And I think what people don't realize is everybody points to the drugs like, oh, you're taking tren and this and that, and that's going to affect your kidneys. It's actually not that. That's actually not the worst part. It's the stress of the prep, being on super low calories, training twice a day, and then having to do a dry out process for the show and all these things. Those are all heavy, heavy stresses on the body. And then obviously on top of that is tren and whatever else you're taking. There's obviously has to be filtered through as well. So anyway, I just made a calculated decision. I could hobble into the show. I could go off all the drugs and hobble into the show and show up at 85% and just have another shitty showing like I did at the Arnold's in 2017, which was not the point of the whole prep anyway. The whole point of the prep was to show up at 100. So I figured if I can't do 100 and I'm only going to show up looking half-assed, then there was just no point.
No, I agree.
And it wasn't about placings. I didn't think I was going to win the show anyway. I just wanted to look my best.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I can't do what I got to do to look my best, then there's no point. And then after me and Ben talked about dialysis, I didn't know what dialysis entailed. So one thing you guys maybe don't know about me, and a lot of people are like this, I fucking hate going to the hospital. Like, even if I have to go visit somebody, it's like a nightmare. Like, I hate going to the hospital. So I called Ben, and Ben's like, dude, dialysis is
shit.
3 hours a day, 3 times a week. You're basically laying in a hospital bed.
Sit there.
And they're filtering your fucking blood through a fucking machine.
Yep.
And I'm like, I can't imagine anything being worth laying in a hospital bed for 3 fucking hours, 3 times a week. It's a nightmare.
No.
So I'm like, so that was basically the decision. I was like, okay, that's it. I'm gonna take care of my health. Now people are asking me like, are you gonna retire? And I'm like, well, probably yes, but I have a plan in place. So the plan right now is just to get healthy, and then worry about what's next after that. So there probably won't be any more competitions, but I will always, like, as long as I'm healthy enough to train, I can still make videos, I can still do all that stuff. But the stress of, I think the stress of being on low calories and training at the levels we train is like really hard on the body.
Well, this is, I mean, I can attest to this firsthand too. I mean, obviously working with Chris, and Chris has IgA neuropathy, which is an autoimmune disease that attacks your kidneys.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for him, it's just strictly monitoring kidneys and stuff. I mean, even with no drugs, nothing like that, when he gets into prep, it's just the stress increases, and that training is at that level, and the cardio is in, and, you know, obviously you're fighting for Olympia title. So you have the mental stress and, you know, all that kind of stuff as well. You know, he can get flare-ups from that with no drugs, you know? So, I mean, you know, you can see, you know, he'll start getting edema, and you can start getting flare-ups from stuff like that, even with basically nothing in there. So, I mean, the proof is in the pudding right there. I mean, you know, and then obviously, like you said, you know, if you start to add things in, then that's just, you know, cherry on top. But, you know, just that stress and, you know, all that, you know, and putting that stress on your body definitely has a huge impact. Absolutely.
Correct me if you either one of you guys know this, but this is what I was kind of told by one of the, not the doctor, but the doctor's assistant, like the physician guy that was there, was telling me that your creatine kinase number is your muscle wasting number. So if any of you have gotten blood work done, there's a number that says creatine kinase. It's usually really elevated in bodybuilders because we're always training. So what the physician was telling me was, the longer that's elevated and the higher that's elevated, the more that's putting stress on, like, it's a direct correlation to your kidneys, because your kidneys are filtering all that out.
Yes.
So if you have a creatine kinase number that's like 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 for like weeks on end or years on end, you're doing damage.
Yes.
So
the way is it, someone explained it to me this way was, you know, when you get a coffee machine, the one that percolates, where you put the paper in it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the paper is like your kidney.
The filter, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then it runs through, but it runs through slow. So the water drips through, and the kidneys can handle it at that rate. And this is where blood pressure comes into play, because when you start ramping that up and you're trying to force too much coffee and water through the filter paper is going to start tearing, start breaking down.
Yeah.
And basically that's what happens with the kidneys.
But I use that exact analogy to explain the blood pressure side of things. But what I don't understand 100% is the creatine kinase number, the breakdown of muscle, and how that affects the kidney. Because
I mean, it's still toxins that are being filtered through your kidneys.
Right. That's what I'm
So
thinking.
it's still, I mean, it's like people that get rhabdo and stuff, you know, it's like you get
Yeah.
such insane muscle breakdown that you can go into like kidney shutdown. I mean, it's just that, but you're like, instead of just in an insane acute, you're talking about like a long, slow death, you know, it's like, it's two different sides of the coin.
So that's one of the doctors.
It's like,
sorry, go ahead, man.
Did we lose
I was going to say, kidney function, if you're not a bodybuilder, hello, you got me?
Yeah, I got you. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. So kidney function decline as you, the kidney function will decline as you get older, even if you don't bodybuild, right?
Yeah.
Just from filtering, etc. So even like you said, the CK number is elevated. It's just an acceleration of that aging process.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I noticed, and the reason I bring that up is I noticed through the prep, my creatinine or my GFR numbers, the GFR, the filtration rate. Your GFR is the filtration rate, which was
Did it decrease? Yeah.
Well, yeah, it decreased, which was what Ben was talking about with the coffee filter. That's your filtration rate. So mine decreased, which is a bad thing.
Yeah.
Over the course of the prep, and one of the doctors I was talking to said, "I bet you a lot of this happened in the last 2 or 3 weeks when you're training twice a day."
Yes.
Because if you're training twice a day, and you're only eating 2,300 calories, which is obviously a deep deficit for someone like me, your body's probably wasting tons of, like, that creatine kinase number must have been through the roof.
Yeah.
So they're like, you probably did most of this damage in the last few weeks. And that's why the last 2 weeks is going to be even worse, because, you know, you guys know, like, that last 2 weeks, you're going to ramp things up even more.
Yeah.
And I don't mean just drugs. Like, you're going to train even harder. You're going to dehydrate, all these things. And then not only the dehydration, the rebound afterwards is going to be a big deal for your kidneys. So anyway, that's all it is. I don't want to take too much more time. We've already spent enough. I just wanted to get, people are asking me to explain, so I want to get it out and kind of let people know what was going on. So anyway, Ben, you took second at your show.
Yeah.
Time to get big now, or what?
A little bit. Yeah. We're gonna. I want to get back on stage again. I was kind of like, I'm in an hour and I was thinking, oh, this will be the last time I do it. The baby's due in like the next, anytime she's going to drop and we're going to run to the hospital. And I'm like, screw it. I enjoyed it. And I fucking got my love for bodybuilding back again. I know I have glaring genetic weaknesses, but I just enjoy it. And I want to see what I can do. And progression wise, I think at 6'1", I don't need to be stepping on stage again until I'm 260 in condition.
70.
So I was 240. I was 242. I was 242 on stage, and I wasn't in condition. Like I was 2 weeks off of being
you need like 30 pounds of muscle.
Yeah, all right. But I was saying,
25.
Given that I can't push things as hard as I maybe want to, or have done in the past, I'm just going to take my time. I'm going to train, eat, take it seriously without jeopardizing my health and keeping an eye on those numbers.
Are you working with anybody on this or no?
You know, I'm working with somebody on this. Yes.
Just want to know if you're going to make it public or not.
You both fucking know who I'm working with, because I've spoken to you both about it. But yeah, Patrick is going to oversee some things for me, or has started. Him and I chatted a while back, and he wanted to do some things with me, and we had a conversation. Yeah, we're figuring some stuff out.
I'm interested to see if Patrick can put 30 pounds on you. That'd be fucking crazy.
I have said to him, he just wants time, and I said, I'll give you time. I'm in no rush.
Yeah.
And I'll do. I have all the tools and resources to implement whatever plan I need to. So,
yeah.
Ian, where are you at? Where's going on with your prep?
Nothing. 10 weeks out, 11 weeks out. What are we, 10 this weekend?
You're
10?
posting. You know, 10. I noticed you're posting a lot more for this prep. Is there a reason?
I don't know. I'm just trying to like be in it. You know,
yeah.
It's different with the Olympia. Like you don't feel like the same pressure for the Olympia. Like I don't feel like I'm going to win the Olympia. So, like, I don't feel the pressure to like hide and be like, oh, and I'm not in the talks of winning the Olympia.
Yeah.
The pressure's not on me. Like, look, do I have goals and guys I want to be? Do I have obviously expectations for myself? Yes, but they're vastly different than going to New York or Tampa where I'm slightly expected to win, you know?
I see what you're saying. So you feel
I mean,
like,
and also like the cat was out of the bag. I stepped on stage twice already. Like everyone's seen it now. I mean, you know, it's like, what am I hiding at this point? You know, it's like, it's pointless.
I thought when I was watching you post, I've been watching you post, and I'm like, I felt like you were doing something different than you did for Tampa to alleviate stress.
In a sense, you're correct. Yes.
Because I feel like when you hide, it built
more stress. It
builds more drama and anticipation, which is good if you come in and blow everybody away.
Yeah.
But it's also way harder on you if you don't. So when you're that was kind of always my thing. If I'm showing everybody as I go, then everybody knows what to expect already, and I don't have to fucking worry if I don't do well or I do well. Like they already know what they're getting.
Yeah, no, and like I mean, I'm very happy and confident with how I look, and I know I'm getting better. So I mean, you know, like I said, I've been on stage twice already at this point, so there's not a ton to hide really, you know. And I did the hiding thing before Tampa, and like you said, you know, obviously I know how that made me feel. So I mean, at this point, it's just like, you know, might as well show it and be proud of the work I'm putting in, and you know, try and document and enjoy this Olympia prep as much as I can, right?
What you're 10 weeks out. How much did you weigh in New York?
252.
Are you guys planning to be any? I know you want to be probably a little bit fuller, maybe a little bit tighter, but what is like, do you think your weight's going to be around the same, or are you trying to do anything to maximize more muscle in the next 10 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't been pushing the food like crazy by any means. Like I'm only 265, 267 right now.
Yeah.
My body fat is pretty comparable. I mean, like I'm not as dry because I'm not taking any like the prep drugs and stuff.
Yeah. The cutting stuff.
Yeah, the cutters. So I'm not taking any cutters. I'm taking bulkers right now. So I'm on the bulkers. I took out the cutters. So, you know, obviously like
okay, stop. Just stop for 1 second. I know you guys keep making fun of me for this, but you guys know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about.
Obviously, I know what you're talking about.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, no. So like, obviously the dryness isn't quite the same with the hardness, but no, my body fat is maintained. I mean, we've been adamant to make sure we're maintaining a good level of composition, and really the focus just has been on optimizing the training. So making sure that I'm getting stronger every week and that my energy is as good as possible. My pumps are good. You know, and then we've switched on my training a fair amount to, you know, maximize the amount of time I'm getting on my weaker points. So that's really, you know, the mindset we have going in there. So if I could be 2 pounds heavier, that would be great. If I'm the same weight and just better, I don't really care. I mean, I don't really have a goal weight in mind. I have a look in mind, you know?
Can I tell you guys something I'll never, ever do again if I ever do prep? I will never take as many anti-estrogens as I did.
Yeah. I mean, you've had Patrick on here to talk about this too, right?
Well, I've had everybody to talk about it. And Ben's even – look at Ben's face. Ben was – I called Ben one day, literally, and I sounded like I was dead. I'm like, Ben, I think I'm going to die, man. Oh, man. So Ben's like, what are you doing? So I tell him what I'm doing. And I don't care. I'll tell people. I was taking Nolvadex and Arimidex, and it was too much of each.
But you went from none.
I went from literally none.
And then you went
none. Yeah.
Bang straight in, and I went, whoa.
No. That's not true. That's not true. I went from none to 1 Arimidex a day. But
that's a lot.
Yeah. And then I only added. It's not a lot. This is the thing, though. It's all relative, right? So this is the problem. I learned this shit. Me and Josh Lenarwitz talked about this on the podcast. Sometimes when you get a coach early in your career, you adopt a lot of their philosophies and they kind of stick with you.
Yeah.
Even though you've learned other shit, that stuff kind of still sticks with you. You know, like Ben, like you and Skip, right? Like you love the Skip diet because you get to load every week and all that. Like that's stuck with you throughout the years. So this was one thing that stuck with me when I worked with Chad. He used to fucking load hard on the anti-estrogens. Like Arimidex, fucking Proviron, Nolvadex. I know Proviron's not technically an anti-erosion, but we would load all of them really hard. So I'm like, okay, and I was kind of doing my own prep this time, and John was kind of just overseeing things. So I threw them in, and immediately I started to look better. I got drier, everything, like my lower back cleared up. But then I think I went too far.
Yeah, like, you felt flat, your pumps were gone to shit, your sex drive's terrible, your energy's low. Like
it took probably 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, but that's like a thing that, like, yeah, if you want to do that the last like 2 weeks. But like, starting far out, it's like,
that's right.
Why? You know, you're just
but again, that's what I learned, right? Like Chad would start. He would start the Arimidex like early, and then we would throw in like Nolvadex around 4, and then he would even throw Electro in on top of that. And I'm like, and I put
Electro in on the Monday before the show. Electro goes in.
Yeah, that's all. I will never use Electro again because of how bad it fucks me up. But Ian's right. Had I done that anti-estrogen combo in the last 2 weeks, I would have been okay, but I did it too early. And there's one set of photos I posted where I looked like I was just string. Like the muscle just looked like it was dead. And I think that was the point.
Well, next time call Iain. You're listening to his advice.
I wouldn't have listened to Iain either.
He learned himself. I just reiterated it. Yeah. I mean, for me, this is the thing. I've done it both ways too. And I mean, for me, especially where getting dry and hard is not something that I struggle with, but getting full is.
Yeah.
If I go hard on the anti-estrogens, like I gain 1% dryness and I lose 20% fullness, Yeah. And that look is just like gone for me. And I can't, like with Patrick, I'm using way less anti-estrogens than I've ever used. And like my pumps are way better. My fullness is better. I mean, I could be 2 weeks out and I want to bang Melissa 30 times a day. I mean, like I don't feel like I'm like shut down to shit,
Well, that was the other thing. That was the other thing about this prep. I realized that all of the prep, how can I put it? All the shitty things we talk about prep, like your sex drive and like being lazy and being tired and like having no energy. I realized this prep, those are all related to anti-estrogens and not necessarily food.
Yeah, 90%, yes.
Because honestly, even when my calories were lower, I was okay.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like shit in the sex drive thing. I didn't disappear until, it was like 3 weeks into my anti-estrogen run that I started to be like, I don't want to fuck. I don't want to fuck. I don't want to. If there was like a sex scene on TV, I like change the channel. I'm like,
it's making me uncomfortable.
It's like watching with your parents.
Like, so I realize it's like the root of all evil, but I'm more like I'm in between you, Iain, and like somebody else. Like the anti-estrogens do make me better.
Of course, yeah.
But I think I just went too high with them.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we got a show this weekend. And one of our good friends is in the show, so I thought we would do a little breakdown. If you guys are up for it,
absolutely.
All right, so I took the task of pulling up some of the bigger names in the show. The first one.
Well, let's pull up the list first. Do you have the competitor list, or?
I had. You know what? I think he's got it here. I think James actually has it in his posted.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a full list though.
Yeah, well, you're missing everyone. You have everyone except for Randy and like a couple random names, but yeah.
Okay, so this is the list. I see off the top of my head, I see Raphael,
Samson, Regan,
James.
Mark Hector's pretty decent.
Mark Hector in a couple of years. His shape is beautiful.
Good. Is that black guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. He looks really good.
Racist prick.
Yeah.
I decided. You know what? I thought about when I was going to say that black guy, and I'm like, is that going to be racist? And I decided to say it anyway because it's not racist.
Because he is.
Because he is black, so it's not.
Yeah. He's that black guy. Yeah.
It's like. Why is that not allowed? Can you tell me why that's not allowed?
What?
It's like saying it's that black guy. It's like if I said Reagan's, that white kid with the the physique haircut. That's how I would describe Reagan. Why is that wrong?
The classic guy.
Well, no, not. He just think it's a pretty boy, right? But he's jacked as fuck. So I'm like, that's how I'd be like the white guy, the pretty boy. That's what I would say. Why is that wrong?
I'm joking. It's not. Like, Luke and I used to have this conversation. It's like if there's 5 guys over in the gym and 4 of them are white and there's 1 black guy and you're trying to reference the black guy, it's really funny when people are like, oh, you see that guy over there, the one wearing the
red shirt,
black pants, the red shirt. You mean the black guy?
Yeah,
him.
Yeah, just fucking say it. Yeah,
I've never cared about saying that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Okay, good. So we're all in agreement. Doesn't matter. Anyway, we have James.
Andrea Muzzi is not bad. Lucas is. No one's talking about Lucas. He's obviously very dangerous.
I think Lucas is going to be dangerous for sure.
Yeah.
Milan is good.
Milan's good too. He's just a little small for this lineup, but yes, he's good. Yeah.
And we have Rami, who's not on the list on this list.
Yeah.
Also, Jamie Joe Howe.
Oh yeah.
Who's that?
James Joe Howe. He's British guy, 6'6".
Oh, the giant guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jamie the Giant.
What does
Jamie Joe Howe or the Giant Joe Howe, or I can't remember his. Joe Howe is Johal.
That should work.
There you go.
This guy. All right.
The prettiest front lat spread I've ever seen for a guy this
height. His front lat spread's ridiculous.
Wait a minute. Talk about a guy who like is a model, but didn't look like a model with a beard.
No. You know what? In 2015, before he got really big, he was like He looked like Superman because he's 6'6", right?
Yeah.
He was in Gold's Gym 2 weeks after the British finals. I was out there for the Olympia, and like I know him from the British scene anyway. Everyone stopped and stared in Gold's Gym Venice because this guy walked in, and he's probably like, he was about 290 pounds at the time, but like lean, and looked like, he kind of looked like Henry Cavill at the time. He had his hair swept back. Everybody stopped and just stared at him.
Okay, somebody needs to tell him that his career is probably in modeling and not in bodybuilding.
And acting, yeah.
Yeah, or acting.
Bottom left picture, he looks like he should be working construction, like hacking darts, you know?
Isn't it funny, though? Look, just reduce the fucking beard, and it's like a totally different person.
I know. But look at the one of him in the garden with his hair all scraggy.
Oh, my God. Okay.
That's amazing.
Okay, so anyway, physique is crazy for somebody who's 6'6".
Well, the front lat. I just want to see the front lat.
The front lat spread's ridiculous.
That's crazy, man. He's really, it's insane for somebody who's 6'6", is very well proportioned.
Insane, yeah. He's filled in too for a physique that big, you know.
Like, I feel like if I had the biggest knock I could point to is I feel like these lats need to drop a little bit.
Yeah.
But
I think he could fix this also too by just pulling that pose up more. Like, he's sitting it like low, but if you pop that chest up, the lats would look a little lower. I think you could fix that a bit. But like, look at that,
That's when he turned pro.
That's a great physique. That's a great physique. And he's way improved from that, you can tell.
Well, go down one. The most muscular there. This is a series of shots you can go through.
Imagine the fucking food that you have to eat at 6'6".
Oh my God.
300.
And you know what? You know what? He gets in condition.
Yeah, I can see that. He looks good.
He always gets in shape. His glutes come in. He's hard.
Big legs for
good.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's for.
Well, he's always had big quads. Like he went hard. He worked with Milos back in, I think, 2014.
This is no good though.
I was going to say,
that's what I mean.
From the side, the upper body's good, but the legs are obviously narrow from the side.
His legs are all quad. That's what I'm saying. Like they're dominant from there. But
that abs and thighs back one was really.
Can I tell you what I find strange? And I have this problem a little bit, and I always wonder what exercise. This is a little help for the people watching. So I look at his quads here. You're like, wow, look at his quads, amazing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And without like pumping my own tires, I feel pretty confident with my legs from the front.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go to the side, and I feel like I have this same problem. If you look at James's leg, and I know he's got a horse leg, so I know it's not normal, but even if you look at anybody with really good legs, they have a sweep that sweeps.
I don't know.
Right?
I don't know how James has that sweep from a side chest.
No, way better from the side than the front too.
No, but I think Iain has that sweep too. So obviously some people have it more pronounced than others. But what I'm trying to say is, how would somebody develop that sweep over the side sweep that's from the front?
I think it's I would say it's rec femoris.
It's the center, right?
Yeah, your rectus femoris. That's that. It goes from the hip straight down the middle.
Outwards.
I'd say that if that's well developed, that's the one that's going to stick over.
It's going to come over the top. Yeah.
That and the lateralis. So if those two are well developed,
I mean,
you can see.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, you see his VMO is very well developed on the inside. I think the lateralis and the rec femoris, I think that's where they're good, but he doesn't.
Sorry. For those of you watching, this is the lateralis, the outer part of the quad. This is your VMO, and this is your rectus femoris is in the middle. So you're saying the lateralis on the outside needs to be more developed also.
I think if he puts density on the lateralis and the rec femoris, that's where James and Iain have a lot of their quad from the side. That's what's going to show.
Yeah, go back to the side chest. I think it's also like he just has very, very like almost no hamstrings on that side shot, which is really not doing it justice.
Yeah. No, I see that, Iain. I'm always jealous of this because I always felt like my quads were good. I feel like I brought them up, but I never ever had that like really strong sweep of the quad.
You can see that little notch. So you see where his knee is.
Yeah.
And then above it, that's his VMO. So his VMO is coming.
Oh, this
out.
Right here. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see his VMO is well developed because you can see it from the side. Yeah. It's that if he can put up that if he can put density and thickness on that rectus femoris, that's going to create
He's got a great shape, man.
Great shape.
What's his first name?
Jamie.
Yeah, Jamie, you have an incredible physique, man. It's like for somebody who's 6'6", this is crazy. But is he going to get lost in the lineup? Because we've seen big guys that we think are really impressive alone, and then when you stand them next to others, then you're like, wait a minute.
Does he have any back shots up here whatsoever, or no?
No, he does what I do, which is basically I have no back, so he doesn't post any back shots.
That's a better.
He's
side
good from
that's a better side of the leg there.
He's good from the front.
Yeah,
but this is his pro debut, I believe.
Yeah, that's impressive. How old is he? Do you know?
He took I want to say 33, 34.
Okay, so he's not young, but he's still got a lot of time left to build on this. It's just such a. Oh, there's a back shot. It's not a bad back. It's not a bad back at all.
No, compared to his front, all of his front shots are his money shots.
Yeah. It's going to be impressive to see. So we royally fucked up the California Pro placings. So let's try and do a better job this time.
You didn't have me.
Just real quick.
In my defense, I didn't think Antoine was going to jump from 8th to 1st.
I wouldn't have suspected that.
So that's not really my fault, okay? But
just real quick before you start going through the top ones, just check out Mark Hector.
Yeah,
yeah, that's right.
Just look at his the shape on him. So again, I believe this is his pro debut. Also,
it is.
He's a British guy, and I think his shape is just
he's got a beautiful shape.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
and it's just like a nice clarity to
very
the
clean. Yeah, very clean. Yeah,
it's drier obviously, but I mean that it's just like that clarity is really nice. Like that, it's just like nice clean muscle. You know,
very well put together.
Yeah,
he's a pretty tall guy. He's a similar height to Jay. I think he's about 5'11". He's a big dude.
He's 5'11", eh?
Yeah, he's not short.
Kind of reminds me, and I'm not even saying this just because they're both black, but he looks like what the hell's that guy's name? He did Tampa and New York with me.
Dwayne Walker?
No, tall guy.
Oh.
We even looked at him on a podcast.
RPG.
RPG.
Yeah, RPG. Yeah.
Kind of similar to that. Tall, really nice shape, structure.
He's a lot better than RPG, I think.
He definitely could be, yes.
Yeah, I think give him another 2 or 3 years. I think he's going to be really fucking good.
Yeah, he pulls that conditioning down a little bit, just like a little harder, drier. He'll be crazy good.
He's an Oxygen Gym guy. Eh? I just found that.
Yeah, that Abdul guy.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah.
So
where do we think he's going to sit? Do we think he'll be in the top 5?
Oh, no. I just wanted to give him a little shout out because I'm.
He'll be a second call out guy with Jamie and those kind of guys, but.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be in the top 5.
Okay, well, let's go here. We'll establish our top 6, and then we'll work down from there.
Well, if you guys would stop interrupting me, I had a plan.
Okay.
He's already got the top 6 line. He's already ahead of us. Look.
All right, here we go. We're going to start with James, the freak of fucking freaks.
Yeah.
His fucking skin looks like sandpaper, man. This is ridiculous.
He's dry, yeah.
So they've actually started feeding him a bit more food.
Yeah.
That's up his protein because he was just ripping through everything.
Yeah. Where do we think James is going to be? Because we have Rami to contend with him.
I say top 3.
Yeah. So, okay, wait. Can we all establish, do we think Rami will win the show?
I don't know, man. I don't know because this, honestly,
off of that video, no.
This doesn't look really impressive to me, but I know Rami posts stuff that's like old, so I don't know if this is current or not.
Click the next slide because there's a video of the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't look impressive at all. I look better than that, but I mean.
Well, it's impressive. It's just not. It's not.
But I mean, it's not top 5 Olympia impressive. I mean,
well, this is what I think. If this is what he looks like, and he's not going to be much harder than this, I think James is going to beat him.
You think so?
Yes.
I think James smokes it. I'm hoping this was from like 3 weeks ago.
I don't know if I'm biased, but this is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, the conditioning is crazy for sure. Yeah,
but I mean, he's not going to be giving up a lot of muscle either. So it's not just that he's going to win on conditioning. Like
he's at 270. You got to remember
this is him depleted.
Yeah. See, this one I could see he's like a little thin through the back here, but the only thing that I think James will lose ground on against Rami is the front shots, the front double, the front lat. Where those aren't great shots for him. Where for Rami, his front double is really, really nice in my opinion.
Let's see if we.
I think James's side chest is just
side chest and side try. James is definitely winning those shots.
Here's a lineup shot. All right, so
see, look at that side try. That's just ridiculous.
God damn!
Look at this. See, that's what I'm talking about. Look at this leg.
Yeah, that leg. Yeah, to be that lean and still have.
I don't know,
Your
guys.
legs
Honestly, man,
sweet, don't they?
I don't want to look. I know a lot of people think, oh, well, he's friends
It's
with
tough.
James. He's friends with James. James is part of the show, and blah blah blah. Honestly, man, if I can be as objective as possible, there is some structural things to be,
Of course.
to be fixed, and it might even be posing things, to be honest with you. But I haven't seen anybody with this level of muscularity and conditioning at the same time.
You know, he's going like
in a
he's
long time.
he's like a big version of Branch.
Like this, yeah. It's like it reminds me of fucking Branch, but even thicker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
He's like a taller,
way thicker.
thicker Branch.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, I don't think if this is Rami now, unless he gets
James will beat that Rami. Yes, I agree.
That's why I'm saying I hope this is the 3-week, 4-week.
Well, did you see what Chad said on it as well?
Sorry?
Did you see what Chad said in regards to this video as well?
No.
Oh, yeah. He said, like, blah, 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 like that they're not really, like, trying to, push him to look good. This is just, like, a simple walkthrough qualifier, and then, then they'll put the hammer down for the Olympia. So,
yeah.
It's top 3 qualifier, right? Or is it just one?
But, I mean, you have to look at it from this perspective. If you're Rami and you're Chad, if you don't win a qualifier going into the Olympia, you lose a fucking shit ton of momentum. Like if you go in, lose to James or Regan or Raphael or Lucas, and then go to the Olympia, like you're now talking about guys that are contending for 7th through 12th, 15th, and you're talking about a guy that's been 2nd at the Olympia. If he goes and doesn't beat these guys handily, that's a big fucking loss of momentum for him.
Well, listen, I agree with you. If he's saying I can be the next Mr. Olympia, then he should be able to walk through this lineup.
He should be. Yes.
But when I look at this photo, this looks a lot harder and a lot better than the video we just saw.
Yeah, but when was this taken? It's like we never know.
That was a 7-week. That was supposed to be 7 weeks ago, and it could have been from last year.
That could have been from 2016. It's like it's impossible
because he never puts context on his video, on his pictures.
No.
He just posts up a picture, and then everyone goes wild for it. And
James doesn't have any front doubles.
You're on his tagged one, I think.
You're on his tag, yeah.
Am I?
Go back up, yeah.
Oh, okay. Post. Sorry, guys. I'm looking for a front double. This 3/4 turn, I like that he's doing.
I like that, yeah. His back lat is crazy too.
Yeah. Ab and thigh looks pretty good.
Yeah, he's many front doubles.
Ab and thigh looks like he needs to pose better. These legs need to be showing.
Yeah, he could show.
I mean, he could just be tired in the morning posing, but
I like his slippers. I bought a new pair of slippers yesterday. So
me and James have like a 4 a.m. text thing every morning at like 4 a.m. Like, hey man, are you up? He's like, yeah, I can't sleep. I'm hungry. I don't see any front doubles. Come on, James. Is it a bad pose for him or something?
Yeah, it's his weaker pose for sure.
Is it? I didn't even.
But I mean, he's so strong.
Okay. So what are we saying? James is top three. We're saying top 3. For
yes,
sure.
Absolutely top 3.
All right, where are we putting Rami?
I mean, I think we have to put Rami at 1, and then it's like whether he shows up or not. I mean, like I think he is the number 1 guy in this lineup by a landslide. So I mean, you can't really say he's not gonna be first when you're doing a prediction because he kind of has to be,
I mean, Ian's right. He should be able to turn up at like fucking half pace and smoke everyone.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far. Guys. Come on.
Technically, a 70% Randy should be able to walk this show.
No,
yes.
That's not true.
I disagree.
Look at the lineup, man. You're talking.
I'm not disputing the lineup, but I've beat everyone in this lineup, and I don't think that I could beat a 70% Randy.
Hang on.
Wait a minute, Ian. In fairness to you, this lineup is all dramatically better than when you beat them.
Oh, absolutely, I know. But I'm saying
you didn't beat.
No.
You didn't beat this James.
Absolutely,
and I'm not saying you can't now. I'm just saying we can't use that as the measuring stick because.
But I mean, I've improved too. But I'm saying the thing is like a Rami at 60-70%. When you're talking to someone that's placed 2nd at the Olympia, they should be able to walk through a show like this. Even
none of the other 5 up there have even been in the top 10.
Okay, I know that.
I mean, other than Lucas, none of them have even been to the Olympia.
Okay, guys, I know that. You're talking about all 3 of these bodybuilders, James, Reagan, and Raphael, are all completely different bodybuilders than they were a year ago. And I would suspect if all 3 of them ended up at the Olympia, they would all be in the top 10.
I disagree, but
Okay. Well, that's what we're doing, right? We're playing a game.
Yeah.
But I think James can be in the top 10 at the Olympia. I think Regan could be in the top 10 at the Olympia. I think Raphael could be in the top 10 at the Olympia.
I disagree.
Really?
Yeah, I disagree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't think
Raphael on stage?
You don't think this is a top 10 physique?
No, go on. This is pumped up in the gym. Like, you don't look like that on stage. You're not full of 10 liters of water. Go on.
On stage, when Raphael is
look at this side try. Go click that video.
He's small.
He's very thin still.
Yeah, I agree. I've seen him on stage. He's not a big guy.
That's still very, very thin.
Hmm.
Through the chest, the lats. I mean, it's that. See, look at that chest. That doesn't look like what we just saw. Look at that. It's much different. That would have a hard time at the Olympia.
Okay.
He's a little better than he was last year. Do I think he's dramatically better like James is? No, not at all.
Okay,
James is dramatically different from his.
James is a completely different bodybuilder in a lot of ways. I mean,
okay, I'll give you the Raphael one. That'd be a tough top 10 at the Olympia.
And Regan hasn't showed enough for me to know. Like, he shows his crazy back, but like, I mean, okay, cool, you know.
Well,
that is a wild back. I will not dispute that. Does Regan have a crazy lower lat insertion? Is it bonkers? No doubt. Would he beat me in a back double? Fucking right he would. But, you know, that's one pose.
Okay, let's not make it like personal. Let's just say this: is
not personal?
Well, I'm just saying, like, let's not compare like you versus everybody.
Sorry. I can only use myself.
Let's just say, is this a top 10 Olympia physique?
No.
You think it is?
I'm honestly, I'm actually thinking while we're talking about it. I don't know.
Okay, top 10 at the Olympia this year. You're gonna have Phil, Flex, Hattie.
Start at 10. Who's 10?
No, I'm just saying. Of the guys, you're gonna have Phil. Roden is Roden. I don't even know if Roden is.
No, Roden's not doing it. Roden's not doing it.
Okay, so no Roden. So Rami potentially should be in there. Phil. Who else did you just mention?
Bonac.
Here, I'll do it. So you got
Phil, Bonac, Brandon,
Hottie, Flex, Bonac, Dexter, Cedric, Rami. So we're at 8 right there.
Wait a minute.
James, Ian,
me, Hunter, like.
Fucking goddamn, Regan's not in the top 10. Yeah, no way. Because Hunter beats Regan.
I agree. Yes.
Ian beats Regan. Hunter beats Regan.
Look, I'm going to say this as objectively as possible. And I think Regan has an incredible physique. So I don't want to take this because I know people think I don't like Regan. So I'll just try and say this as objectively as possible. Regan from the back is absolutely top 8 material. From the back. When you turn to the front, that is absolutely not. It's vastly different than his back. Side poses, he's not very strong. Front pose, he's not very strong. You know, he's a vastly different bodybuilder from the front than he is from the back.
You think he beats Antoine?
Do I think Regan beats Antoine?
See, like that's not great. I mean, you know, there's a lot of places to improve there. You know, the shape is beautiful for sure, but I mean,
I'm going to say this about Antoine and Regan. At this moment in time, Antoine beats Regan because Antoine's got denser, harder muscle.
Well, and Antoine's also proved he can get in shape, but I've never seen Regan peeled or dry out of his mind.
That's what I just said. What I said. I said
at this moment
in time, if they stood next to each other, Antoine would win because Antoine's got the harder, denser look.
I agree.
I think when Regan can figure out his conditioning, figure out his shape, his density, when all that comes into play, if it ever does, then he would beat Antoine.
I can agree with that.
Okay, so we're saying we got to the Olympia. Let's go back. So we have James in the top 3. We have Big Ramy first.
Okay,
I think where the disagreement came into play was that Ramy at 70% should be able to beat these guys, and I think that's a fucking stretch.
You think so?
Yeah, dude, 70% means he's shit. Like, I think he's a little off. Yeah, he should be able to win. But if he's a lot off, no, he shouldn't.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think that anyone else.
But we just said that, Ian. We said, look, you said if he shows up like this, James will beat him.
If he looks like that photo, yes.
Yeah, to me, this is like 90%.
No.
He doesn't get much harder than this.
I know, but you also can't see his fucking 40-inch quads, and I mean, his back is really good. I mean, like, you know, there's a lot of things you're not seeing in this one shot. So I mean, it's.
What I'm looking at is just the conditioning, because the knock on him is never anything to do with his muscularity. It's that his conditioning and detail is never there, and I still don't see any detail. Like, do you see any
even the muscularity in this video doesn't look super impressive.
Like, do you see striations in his chest? I mean,
no.
It's and then you look at James, and James is fucking carved like a fucking turkey.
Man, I'm not disputing that James is in fucking ridiculous shape compared to Randy. I mean, I don't think that. So I don't think the wildest dreams that Randy will ever be as hard as James is. There's no chance.
So I think the dispute came where we're like the 70% versus 90%, which is all doesn't mean anything. Yes. Where do we think Ramy will place? Let's just go there.
Well, and this is what I said. I think you can only base it off what we know Ramy comes in on average. Let's say the average Ramy is a top 5, top 4, 5, 6 Olympian. I think that average Ramy wins this show handily. Do I think that that's going to be the case? Not necessarily, but when we're basing a prediction, we can't really see Ramy like we can see James or Lucas or Regan or Raphael. I have to kind of base it off that. So I can only base it off of past engagements, and I would put Ramy as the strong favorite, yes.
I'm going to say that too. I'm going to say if Ramy shows up like this,
even not like
or
that,
even close to this,
sure.
Yeah, Ramy wins.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
90% of that, he smokes everyone. That's true.
Yeah, I can. Right. That's where that was where the dispute came in. If you guys said 90, I'm like, cool. When you say 70, I'm like, he's not that great. Like 70 means you look like you're in off season. Okay.
Maybe we were pushing it with the 70 then. I can agree with you there.
So then, so we got Ramy winning. We have, let's just put James in second for now.
Let's put James second, yeah.
And then we got Regan. Where do we see Regan? And we, like you said, we can only base his conditioning on what we've seen already.
I'm going to say fourth.
I would agree with you, fourth.
Okay, let's leave him fourth for now, and then we'll see if he moves back as we go through the list. Where do we have Lucas? Because Lucas, I could see being second place just by shocking the fuck out of everybody.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing with Lucas. When Lucas is fresh, is ridiculously good. And the thing is, like, Lucas only ever wanes. Like, he lost to Regan last year, but he lost to Regan when he'd done 12 shows that year. You know, It was Regan's first show and it was his 12th. And yeah, he lost to, you know, Raphael or Regan or some of these guys or James at the end of the year. But a fresh Lucas is a very, very dangerous Lucas. You know,
does James beat this Lucas?
Yes.
Based off these pictures, yes, James beats this Lucas.
I think so too. Okay.
The only thing that Lucas has is his back shots are just obviously way better, but you're talking of one shot, just the back double, not the back lat.
So
I think James's size is now superior to Lucas.
It's overwhelming, especially the side poses. I mean, he's going to destroy him on the side poses. He'll hold him on the back lat. He'll lose the back double. You know, he'll beat him on the most muscular. You know, it'll be pretty.
Okay, let me ask you this. So we all kind of agree James will be second and Lucas will be third, but I don't know if I'm sure about third because the IFBB has made such a note of stuff.
Okay, whoa. This was like his 9th show of last year, though.
Yeah, but that's not going to change the structure of his stomach.
Okay, we'll find another front double picture. You can find ones where he looks a lot crisper.
Even the
like,
clear.
Go down. Look at the
right.
His midsection there.
Yeah, I've never thought his midsection was good. I'm not saying it's distended.
Great, but
I'm just saying it's a little blockier when he's standing next to Regan. This is the thing. When he stands next to Regan, he'll expose Regan's conditioning.
Yeah.
But Regan will expose his shape.
Yeah, but I mean, you could say that then to James. Like for James, he's got better shape than James, and so does Raphael. We still think James is going to be all that.
But James is so far advanced past Lucas. I think that it won't matter if his shape is not beautiful.
Yeah. Okay, right? I can agree with you there. Yeah.
Because it's a game of averages, right?
I think the thing Lucas gets is his conditioning and his back shots are just like a shock and awe thing, you know.
So you think? See, because when I see this, I see a blockier midsection, and I feel like nowadays they're like.
But I mean, that's a blockier midsection. But even in that front relaxed, I mean, he looks one of the best up there in that group of 4.
Yeah.
You know, and that's against Cedric, who's crazy shaped in the front. Akeem, who's crazy shaped in the front. I mean, and I still like him the best there. So even with the blocky shape, the conditioning.
So you're saying Lucas is third.
Yeah, this is where I go with this, okay? I have Lucas third because Lucas will be in shape, okay? When I'm thinking of guys that are going to be in shape, Lucas will be in shape and James will absolutely be in shape. Yeah. Regan is a question mark, and Raphael is a question mark in terms of what he's going to look like size-wise on stage, and he's also very weak in the back shots compared to Regan and compared to Lucas. So
Raphael is usually in shape. He just, like you said, he's just small.
Yeah.
he's in shape, but it's still like not the same kind of in shape. Yeah. It's like he's like who's someone I can think of as like a comparative. It's like always, and I don't know if it's his skin quality because he doesn't have like the greatest skin. I don't know if it's a skin quality thing, but it never quite looks as like crisp as some of the other guys,
Okay, so let's leave Lucas in third, and the only reason I'll agree with you is because I feel like his conditioning will be far superior to Regan's. I feel like that he'll expose Regan that way.
Yeah.
But if Regan brings any kind of conditioning, I think he will surpass Lucas.
Regan's potential smokes this guy.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, does Regan have the potential to be better than almost everyone here? Sure. But I mean, potential is only that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then we move on to Raphael. So we have Regan fourth, we have Lucas third, James second. Is Raphael fifth?
I mean, I could see him and Regan is a very close toss-up. I mean, it's, he's going to beat Regan in the front shots. Regan will beat him in the back shots. I think Raphael's a little better in the side shots. It's close, man. I don't know.
Yeah, they could flip-flop.
Yeah, they could flip-flop. It really depends what kind of condition Regan comes in at. Like, that looks great.
See, it's hard to tell because there by himself, he looks absolutely incredible, but I don't know how big he is when you stand him next to somebody.
Yeah.
He's like high 230s on stage.
Really?
Last time he was. I'm suspecting he'll be like low to mid 240s here, but he's not short. I think he's like a 5'10", 5'11" kind of guy, right?
Yeah.
Go to his profile.
What?
Go up, go down, sorry.
Where?
Keep going. There was one.
We're back to where we started.
Yeah, keep going down.
1 second.
Who's he next to there? I don't know those guys.
The physique guys.
Yeah, but height wise is what I was trying to see.
Yeah, he doesn't look overly thick. He's not overly like dense.
No, I mean but he's also never been a guy that's going to beat anyone on size. He's going to beat them on shape and flow, right? I mean, he's like the Chris Bumstead of open,
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a big classic guy.
So if we have him, and then we have Samson. So that's the other thing. We're forgetting Samson.
I mean, I'm not forgetting him. I'm just not sure he can hang.
Displayed he can get in shape enough like these guys, so I can't throw him in that mix yet.
And he's beaten James a fair few times, but he beat James, and James was not this James. So
yeah, but this just goes back to like when I said that I beat James, and it's clearly not the same James, right? So
yeah.
I mean, and it's just the principle of it. But yeah,
when I look at this, I feel like this physique could be in the top 3. I feel like he could beat Lucas. The only problem is it doesn't look hard enough.
No, I think his back is narrow, and I think his conditioning's not there.
I feel like but this is also. Well, this is only 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Oh, you better hope he does well.
Why? Samson's a fucking man. I don't care where he places. He's a fucking dog. I don't give a shit.
Okay, why doesn't he work with a coach? Can anyone answer me this?
I've asked him that. He likes the fact that his girlfriend is his coach,
they used a couple. Like he went.
I think he had a bad like when I had him on the podcast. He talked about how he had a bad experience with the coach, and the coach didn't really give a shit about him. But I'm like,
I think he worked with Abdul for about 2 months after he turned pro, and then he sacked it in and went back to working with is it Marta or his other half?
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see what he does. I feel like.
I throw him kind of down there with like Milan and those kind of guys in the second call out.
I love Samson's shape. I really do. I think he's such a good bodybuilder. I just want to see him take this look.
Well, that's why I'm asking. Why doesn't he hire a coach? I mean, like this is something that I think working with a coach would get you in better shape. I mean, it's.
Well, let's see what
someone had that second set of eyes to be like, "Yo, we're not quite there yet. We need to push harder."
Yeah. Let's see what this does. Let's see what happens at this show. Hopefully, if he brings us in a little. The other thing we had to consider is fucking Samson's been dieting since January.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's got to be a little burnt out at this point, even though he says he's not, and I know he's a workhorse, but
he literally, he can go. That boy can.
Yeah, but
because he works a manual labor job as well while doing all of this, right?
Yeah. I mean. But even if mentally you think you're still there, I mean, physically, his body has to be tired after dieting for like fucking 10 months.
Yeah, I mean, I've been dieting since February, but I also don't work a job, so it is different, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see. I love the shape. I love the muscularity. I'd love to see him, 5% harder, 10% harder, and see what he can do then. Because honestly,
I see him somewhere in like the 6th, 7th, 8th kind of range.
Yeah.
Can he beat Raphael?
No.
Not right now.
No. Can he? Yes. Will he this weekend? No.
So it's basically all a conditioning thing, we're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I see him kind of there with the Andrea Muzzi, the Milan Sadik. I mean, I think he's kind of lumped in with those guys there in like the 7th, 8th, 9th, you know?
When you consider the condition that James is bringing with his size, it's gonna.
You couldn't stand Samson next to him and Samson not look completely out of shape.
Yeah.
So if you put Samson in that first call out, James would completely expose him. It would just look crazy, you know.
But if Reagan shows up like previous Reagans,
then then you could have someone like Milan move up. I mean,
this is what I'm saying, right?
Possible.
Listen to this. So if Reagan shows up like previous Reagans, there's going to be a big drop off from 3rd to 4th because Lucas and James are going to be fucking peeled.
Yes.
So there's going to be a big drop off conditioning wise from 3rd to 4th place.
Yep.
So,
this is one reason I can agree with you that a 70% Ramy is not a shoo-in because those other guys are going to definitely be in incredible shape, and if they're especially someone like James who's big and Lucas is in crazy shape, they'll really make Ramy look bad if he's like off, you know.
I think a 70. What happened to my fucking sound shit here? Am I fucked up? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
I think a 70% Ramy can beat Lucas. I just don't think he can beat James.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very interested. I mean, because this is so much change for James. I'm interested to see what this translates to on stage in terms of the look, you know?
That's what's so exciting about it is like, we're all talking about previous bodybuilders, but this is why I'm so hesitant to make placing predictions because I feel like every single person we've talked about has made some adjustment.
I know.
And some bigger than others, right?
Yeah. And that's why I was saying before, like when I was saying like, I beat this guy, it's like, because I can only base it off of what I've seen. It's so hard to base off like the photos or what could potentially be because it's, like what someone looks like in a photo and then what it translates to on stage could be vastly different, But I mean, we can all agree that James has improved dramatically,
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the one everybody's kind of waiting to see because there's so many times where you've seen somebody look so amazing in their progress photos or the locker room photos and then they show up on stage and you're like, it didn't translate. So I think everyone's kind of waiting to see.
James has always historically been causing a bit of a stir from 10 weeks to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And then from 6 weeks out, he really faded.
Yeah.
So he didn't carry through. And he always looked like, I always compared it to Dennis James, where he'd be like crazy leading into the show. And then he gets on stage and everyone's like, what the fuck happened? And I don't think that's happened. It hasn't happened this time. There's been no what the fuck happened. He just carried on, staying the course. And
one thing you can't deny, like whether he flattens out or whatever, blah blah blah. Like, which I have full faith in Patrick that they won't make those mistakes. Is that his conditioning is exceptional, and that is not going anywhere. Yeah. He's at the level of conditioning now that like no matter what you fuck up, you're still going to be peeled.
So when he won the juniors when he was like 19, all the way through his amateur days. He was known for condition, like exceptionally. He just used to smoke everyone on condition.
Yeah.
And then he turned pro and he knew he was undersized. And I think they were trying to keep him bigger. And so he started missing condition. Yeah. This is the old James. So back when 10 years ago, when no one knew who James was, this is the condition he used to bring, but obviously with like 50 pounds of muscle.
Yeah, he's got the muscle to support it.
Can I tell you, I think it's because he's crazy. I do. I think James is nuts in a good way. Like when I hear him talk on the podcast, he's a very eccentric type of person. Like he doesn't.
Absolutely.
He's like what I asked him about condiments. He's like, I don't use any sauces. And I know that doesn't seem like a big deal to anybody, but it was the way he said it.
Yeah.
It's the way he said it, and it's like it's almost like you can tell when you talk to him, if you talk to him for long enough, that he likes to suffer.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people say that, but I think he actually likes to suffer.
James is one of these where I think he realized early on that there were people better than him genetically. And he says that he made a decision in his head that there. And you know when people say, "Oh, I left no stone unturned," James doesn't like that. Is literal with James.
Yeah.
It is fucking by the book.
You know what we said, Branch Warren? He actually is more like Branch Warren than I thought. Now that the more we talk about it, except Branch.
Personality-wise, I disagree. But
no, not personality-wise. I mean, like their work ethic, because
yes.
I think Branch had that same type of love to suffer attitude.
Yeah,
but it was more in your face. Whereas James kind of like it's more of like a
silent, like
it's like a silent, like scary, like eerie type of.
Well, there's that thing of Branch where he's like off season, and he's walking around and he's at like a big cookout, like a fair thing.
Yeah.
And he walks over and there's a bunch of chicken. He's like, "Oh, what's on? Like, what marinades are on these?" And the guy talks him through, and Branch like, "No, don't worry about it," because it was like too much honey or too much like seasoned on it. And he was like, "No, I'll just stick to what I've got." Yeah, and that's James. James is like that. James would be like, he's off season, but he's like, I'm a lazy off season. I'm like, I'll have an extra food. I'm like, I finished my meal and I'm hungry. I have a cookie. James is like, I finished my meal. Done. Next meal was in 3 hours time.
Yeah. I'm like
there is no addition.
I'm like, which chicken has the most sugar on it? That's the one.
The most sauce on it.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. Well, listen, it's gonna be an awesome show. We're all kind of looking forward.
So this is how we see it. Though we see Ramy, James, Lucas, Regan, or Raphael, and then that's it.
I honestly,
Samson, maybe.
Yeah, I think I'll go with that for now. But I honestly think after third, anything can happen because the conditioning drop off is going to be because, like you said, with Raphael, you have a reduction in size. With Regan, you don't know if he's going to be able to nail it. Samson, I'm hoping like he can bring it. I don't know. There's Milan or Sadiq or
it's the same person.
Same person. Sorry. There's who's the giant guy we're talking about?
Jamie Johal.
Yeah, there's Andrea, there's Samson. So I mean, you have a lot of those mid-tier guys in there that can sneak up.
And Mark Hector could sneak in the top 8.
Yeah, Mark Hector could fucking shock a lot of people too.
Yeah, so I mean, this is the same thing I've had in these other conversations. There's so much dependent on just how Regan turns up.
Yeah,
really, how Regan turns up is like that middle one that sways everything.
Yeah,
because Regan could jump up to second, or Regan could fall down to 8th. He's the one that all rides on him. No pressure.
I think that top 6, though, I think it's almost the same as New York. It was like the top 6 are
they're good, yeah.
And then there's a gap between, and it's not an insult. Like James House, he's pro debut, right? Mark Hector, same thing. Then there's a bit of a gap, and those guys are going to their second and third call out is going to be a big difference between where James, Ramy, Regan are versus those guys.
It's funny, after the California Pro, I got somebody messaging me, well, you guys really fucked that one up. And I'm like, man, we're just playing a game. Nobody knows what's going to happen.
I messaged you the same fucking thing. I was like, we royally fucked it.
Yeah. Well, that's how you know it's a good show, when you can't guess. That's
yeah.
All right, let's get to some of these questions, guys. We've been on for like an hour already, so we got to get to some of these. How many chickens do you think you've eaten in your lifetime, and could you fight them off all at once if they were to reappear and attack you?
I calculated this once, actually.
Really?
I can't remember the number, but I calculated this once based off an average of 2 chicken breasts a day, a chicken having 2 breasts, and extrapolated over my
That's
entire
actually a good idea. So 1 minute. So if we eat 1 chicken breast a day for every day for a year, it's 365
chicken breasts a day.
No, 1 chicken. So 2 chicken.
1 chicken a day at least.
Yeah. So 365 chickens in a year.
Yeah.
At least.
And we've all
10 years.
10
years, that's 3,000.
Times 20 years. That's 7,300 chickens.
Yeah.
You know what? I think that's actually really accurate, because I've probably eaten 2 or 3 chickens in a day at times.
Yeah, I was going to say that's probably a low ball. You're probably closer to 10,000, yeah.
10,000.
Oh my God.
When you say it like that, you're like, wow, I'm ruining the earth.
10,000 chickens.
I ate 10,000 chickens.
My sister's a hardcore vegetarian. She'd have a heart attack. She would have a fit if she had this conversation. She'd just be freaking out, because we're talking about 3 of us here. I've probably gone through 30,000 chickens. Right?
Is that insane? That's insane to think about.
Plus the eggs.
You know what, man? I've never even thought of that, and now that's blowing my mind. That I've eaten 10,000. You know what 10,000 chickens looks like? And then they're like, "What would you do?"
Yeah, I mean, that's like your like high school completely full with chickens.
And then like, what would you do if they reappear and attack you? I'd be dead. You couldn't fight off.
Fucking
10,000
run.
chickens.
I'm running. I'm not. If they're on aggressive attack mode and they're out for vengeance, I'm fucked.
10,000 chickens, man. You really think we can eat 10,000 chickens?
I'm just letting my dog out.
Okay. Next question. Top 3 books you've read or listened to. Do you read it all?
Not so much anymore. The books I have read, the Lord of the Rings, I read the second and third book after the first film, because I was like, I wonder what happens.
I thought you were going to say something serious, and you're like, Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings, I am being fucking serious.
All right.
Don't fuck with my Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is like the greatest thing ever.
I've never seen Lord of the Rings.
I know.
I'm like the only person on earth. Now that I can eat, I'm going to get like a smorgasbord of food.
Now I can eat.
I'm going to sit and watch all the Lord of the Rings one day.
10
Oh,
hours.
they're so good. And then you've got the 3 Hobbit films right after.
Hobbits.
Oh my god.
Okay, so the question.
I wish I could reset and forget the film so I could watch them over again, not knowing like.
Everybody keeps telling me how good they are, so I'll watch it. Anyway, but
yeah.
Ian, the question is, and I'm going to let Ben finish his answer, but the question was top 3 books you've read or listened to. So Ben, finish. Lord of the Rings.
I've read like 2 books my entire life. You crazy?
Well, just 1 minute.
Well, what were they?
Ben, you got Lord of the Rings. What else? Anything else?
Jordan Peterson's the 12 Rules of Life.
Oh, that's good.
All right. Anything? You got anything down there, Ian?
No.
You didn't read anything? You said you read 2 books. What books?
I mean, like when I was in high school, I read like To Kill a Mockingbird and like fucking,
I read The Power of Now because I was dealing with anxiety. So The Power of Now is probably one of the best books I ever read for anxiety. I also read a book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, also an anxiety book. And then the third one was a Navy SEAL book because I wanted to be a Navy SEAL when I was in high school. And then I realized it's way too hard.
My sister mentioned about she read The Power of Now and she said it's one of the greatest books she ever read. She recommended it to me and then we were chatting and she was like, wait a second, you live your life exactly like the book does, like you're fine, don't worry.
You don't.
You're
pretty close. You're pretty close.
She was like, you don't give a fuck, you're impulsive, you do what you want when you want, like it's all and she said more since my accident I've applied that mentality more, but
it's not. But the thing about that book is it's not just in your actions. You do it in your actions. It's more about in your thoughts. So The Power of Now, just a quick recap.
I do need to read it. I probably will.
The reason it's so important is because people with anxiety are usually worried about something that's going to happen or something that has happened.
Yeah.
And the reason The Power of Now is so important is because that book basically teaches you to fucking live in this exact moment. Is anything bad happening now? No. Then just fucking don't worry about it. So
well, that's where my philosophy after my accident happened. Is like I focus on the things I can do, rather than things that I can't. I was injured. And, I can't tell you how many fucking injuries I've had, right? And I was in a wheelchair for 6 months, and I had PTSD and all that shit. And so coming through the PTSD, I kind of, without reading the book, learned to not stress about shit I can't change, and just focus on, hey, what's good right now?
Yep.
What is going on right now? What can I focus on now? What can I? What do I have influence on now? Yeah, and that's what I focus on.
Yeah, and listen, for those of you guys who don't like reading, because I'm one who does. I actually read that book, but I don't. It's an easy read, but I don't like reading. I actually listened to the audio book version of it also. So I've read or listened to that book like 3 or 4 times because you don't really digest it all the first time. Yeah. So if you don't like reading, get the audiobook. I'm telling you, if you have anxiety or anything like that, it fucking helps. Like,
I might download the audiobook now. It's on like Amazon or some shit, right? Yeah. I might do that. Tell you what, I am excited. This is just kind of on topic. What? I've got the Hungry Caterpillar ready to go. The kids book. What do you mean? The fucking, the book with the caterpillar and you follow it through and.
No.
This must be a British thing.
Yeah.
You don't know what the Hungry fucking Caterpillar book is.
I don't know it.
Do you know Clifford?
Anyway, there's that, and then I've got the Gruffalo book ready in the nursery, ready for when the baby comes.
That sounds familiar, but the Hungry Caterpillar.
I don't know the Gruffalo book either. Sorry, dude.
Well, you don't even seen Lord of the Rings, so you don't count for shit. You don't know anything.
Okay.
The Hungry Caterpillar is like one of these real, like, it's a book where it's like the pages are made of card. They're solid.
Yeah.
And it's got like a hole in it, and the caterpillar goes through.
Oh, okay, yeah. I know this. I've seen
I've
this.
never
Yeah,
seen
of
it.
course, yeah.
Right.
I didn't know it was called that, but yes, I do know that.
Yeah.
Anyways, can we move on?
That's been around forever.
What does it mean when a bodybuilder says they are going to grow into a show instead of cutting? Do they bulk into a show? It usually means they're full of shit. But anybody want to?
It usually means they're going to take tons of drugs and they were starting in a really shitty spot.
Yeah.
Okay, let me try and explain one of the scenarios. So I grew into my last prep, and the reason that was only possible is because I started at such a shitty point, like Iain said. Yeah, just like Iain said, I was such a bad point. Like I had been off drugs for like 9 months. I was barely training, and my body was in a state of like the muscle had been deflated pretty much.
You can only get better from there.
Yeah, I could only get better by getting back on a proper schedule. So
you're kind of you're not really growing, you're regaining into a show.
Yeah, you're regaining. Yes. You're not growing new tissue. Yeah. So
and that's kind of what Lavroni kind of used to do, right?
Well, that's
take all the time off and then
that's what the term recomp. That's what they mean when they say recomp, right? The recomposition of your body. So
I don't believe anyone's truly growing into a show, not growing new tissue that they never had before into a show.
I don't either. So yeah, most people when they say growing into a show, they just mean recomping, like rebuilding the muscle they already had to get back to where they were, which is what I did. So I basically I only lost about 10 pounds in my prep. So I basically rebuilt the old muscle and dropped some fat in the process. And that's what you guys saw like the last couple of weeks before I stopped. But I don't know anybody who's grown into a show.
Not that already hasn't been to that point. No.
Yeah. Like there was nobody that was like 230 on their last stage and then all of a sudden just decided to start dieting and showed up at 245.
No,
that's never happened. So main reasons for pulling out of Chicago and what's your opinion on the Spain show? We've covered that. Was there any bodybuilders you looked up to as an amateur and got to meet? Anybody?
You first.
I didn't really look up to anybody. I thought I always like watched Dorian Yates videos. I don't know. I didn't really look up to anybody. I just thought the guys that worked really fucking hard always appealed to me.
Yeah, I didn't really know bodybuilding well until I was kind of like already like nose deep in it. So, I mean, the only guy I really knew of and that I met was Ronnie Coleman. But even then, I only knew him based off like the "yeah, buddy" and like the the funny like taglines and stuff. I didn't really know a ton about bodybuilding until after I'd competed. So, I not really anyone that I can't really think of anyone.
That's kind of the same here because I didn't.
Yeah.
Like I kind of started bodybuilding and everything all at 20 years old, like all at once.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I grew up watching somebody and like it never happened.
I didn't. I knew who Arnold Schwarzenegger was and I knew who Ronnie Coleman was up until I was about into early 20s, and then I got into bodybuilding and found out who everyone was after. So
yeah. Did you make more, the same, or less money switching from a contract to starting your own business? I make less now. Can you get C-Bum on the podcast? Yes, we have plans to do that. Shrugs or upright rows for traps? I'm going to say both.
Yeah, why not both? Well, okay, this is the thing, and I have a few.
I knew.
I'm going to go off on this.
I knew this was going to happen.
These fucking questions, when people say like one or the other, it's like, are you in the gym and someone's like, you can only do one trap exercise and then you have to leave? It's like, why? Why not do both? Like, do your upright rows and then do shrugs. Like, why is it like an and or? It's like, what if you had to pick one carb source to only eat? It's like, well, you can eat more than one carb source. You don't have to pick only one. Eat them all. Eat a carb source 6 fucking meals a day for all I care. Yeah. Like, why are you picking just limiting to one thing, one exercise, one food? It's like, fucking hell,
Yeah, you use Fouad's philosophy when it comes to ordering each cheat meal. Why have one? You have like 5 or 6 fucking options.
Get them all.
That's right. If you can't decide between burgers and pizza, just get
them all. If you're not sure which trap exercise to do every single trap exercise you can fucking think of. That's what I should do. Do 2 sets of them, low volume, just 2 sets, and do 4 different exercises. There you go. Have fun.
I feel the exact same way you do, Iain, except I'm not dieting anymore, so I'm not angry. But
no, wait. I feel that I'm 10 weeks out. I feel great. I'm happy as a pig.
No, I know.
But I get these questions. I get these questions on my Q&As all the time, and I just did one 2 days ago. This is why I'm a little fired up about it.
I know.
It's because there's so many questions about this of like what if you could only pick one? It's like, but why do you only have to pick one? It makes no sense to me.
You know why it gets to me? Because they'll be like, machines or free weights? And I'm like,
why? Both. Like, what? What kind of a question is that? Like, if you could only pick one rep range to do all your exercises in, what would it be? It's like, well, why do you have to pick? Is someone in the gym telling you can only do one? Like, just do them all.
Well, I'm going to say Vince, Rosetta, I'm sorry we're going off, but because I know you're a good fan of the show, but we're giving you a real response, dude. So, when it comes to training, can I say, for those of you who have not listened to the Jordan Peters podcast I did, that guy's fucking brilliant, and he's great, and he's insane at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, him and James are as insane as each other.
No, he's a level above James, I think.
He's a different kind of insane than James.
Yeah. Like, or maybe I just don't know James well enough, but he seems like he's a level.
No, they're very similar. The only thing with Jordan, I think, is Jordan won't or has a hard time letting go of certain principles. Like, he's married to certain ideologies that have worked to a point, but they haven't built him a nice physique. They built him a lot of muscle.
Yeah. He talked about that. He talked about that.
Yeah. I think there are better ways.
It's funny. You know, this is the best part. I love it when people are fucking honest. So we're talking about his physique, and he says to me, I don't know if I'll ever be a pro because my stomach is fucked. And he says, you know, I think it's because of insulin. We got into insulin and all that. You guys got to listen. It's a good podcast. Anyway, he basically admits to me, because I said to him, do you think training in a different way would help you reduce your stomach size? And with all this other muscle everywhere else, you'd be able to crush everybody on stage. And he basically admits to me that he loves his training style so much he could give a fuck about getting a pro card.
That's why I said to you about my squatting, right? Where everyone was like, oh, if you squat on your leg. I'm like, to me, I love my squatting.
It's fun, yeah.
But I can't let it go. Even though I know that my leg development would be better if I left squatting alone for 6 months and went and did hack squats or the better. I'm going to try doing it. I am going to do it. But he had that same, he's really married to progressive overload and he can't let it go.
You know, it's funny. I just trained with a kid recently, or a friend recently, and he's one of these guys that wants to do everything perfectly. And I go, look, it's okay to be a little sloppy. I go, your sets shouldn't be shit. Like, I'm not saying your form should be garbage, but if you're so focused on perfect form that you're not having any fun in the gym, you're doing something wrong. Like I have fun. I have fun when I train. Yeah. If somebody said to me, hey, you got to slow down all your reps and you got to do them like this, and you got to do them like, I'd be like, I don't want to fucking be here anymore. So there's an element of like, people need to understand there's an element of form and fun, and you have to do what you love or else you're not going to do it properly. Yeah. So, and I think that's the thing that Jordan was getting at, is he just loves training that way. So he's like, I don't give a fuck if it means my stomach is a little bigger. I love doing this shit. And I thought that was really cool. But the thing I got most from it was I fucking learned through these podcasts. So I decided I changed my training. I actually have like a little logbook now. I'm going to in 20 years, I've never kept a logbook.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try and get stronger, because if I'm not competing anymore, I don't care if I tear all my muscles.
Oh my God.
Famous last words. 2 weeks from now, he'll be fucking torn everything.
No.
He'll have a new bench PR and 4 fucking torn muscles.
Yeah. No, I'm still gonna be safe. Like, my rep ranges are still gonna be no lower than 6, so I'm still gonna be safe. But I've just never, Jordan kind of talked me into it. He's like, I gotta be 1 pound better than the week before, and I've never ever done that. I've never kept a logbook. I'm like, fuck, you know what? Why not? Give myself.
When Luke and I went on our rampage in 2017, the summer of, was when him and I were getting progressively stronger, and he made his most amount of progress. I made my most. I put a thing up the other day, and I said there was a reason why 2017 is when I put on my most amount of muscle, and then we were fucking burying ourselves, and we were going, okay, what did we do last week? All right, fuck it, let's go. And we beat there was like a 9-week stretch where we would we could go and do our heavy compounds. We're like, shit, that felt easier than last week. Okay, put more weight on. And we just kept progressively getting stronger. And both our physiques, obviously he's at a much faster rate than mine, we're improving dramatically. And that's when I put on the most amount of tissue I have within a certain time frame was then.
Well, I feel like it's a good time for me to do it now, because I'm going off all the gear. So I feel like if I can get stronger while I'm off and I'm reducing my volume, I'll be able to recover better too. So, and then if I get stronger when I'm off, if I ever do go back on, I'll have like that rebound effect where I'll get.
Wait. When you say off, quantify off.
I mean, like actually off.
Oh, like actually off. No cycle, no injection.
Why are you laughing so much?
Because he's trying to imply that I'm a fucking junkie and I can't get off.
No, because you're like, oh, my off. I say I'm off, but I'm running like 500 tests a week, and I'm like,
I've never said that.
Like, that's not off, is it?
No, what I said was in the 9 months I was off after I tore my tricep, I was on a TRT dose of 250 milligrams. And people are like, that's not TRT, and I'm like, okay, whatever, it's close enough.
Well, it's not off.
Okay, but I'm never ever going to go all the way off. I don't have any.
So that's what I'm asking. So I'm saying when you're saying off, because I know your definition.
Right,
my definition of off is no gear.
Okay, I'll tell you what I'm doing right now. Okay, 150 milligrams of Pro and 2,000 IU of HCG every other day.
Okay, so you're not off.
No, but the plan is
you're very low dose.
No. But it's not smart to just stop, right? So the plan, I just got off all the gear from my prep. So the plan is to taper, and hopefully within a month I'll be off.
Okay, right.
Like
that's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
That's what I was getting at, because I know when you said it to me before about your 9 months, and you were like, "Oh, that's off for 9 months," and then you told me that you were running a self-prescribed TRT. I'm like, well, they're not the same.
Come on, man. 250s. Listen, when you're used to
250 off.
When you're used to doing, I'm not saying that now. I'm saying now I'm going actually all the way off. But before, when you're used to doing 1250 a week, 250 is fucking off. Not technically, but like I feel like it's off. I feel like it's off.
Yeah. That's why I was just trying to get a definition this time, because you change it.
The definition now is because of health reasons, we're going tapering and then off.
And off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, we're way off track here. When it comes to training, if you are 20% body fat, should you focus more on cardio to get the body fat lower before weight training, or still do weight training and cardio?
Whoa. What? Okay. People.
Yeah. Ian's going to lose his mind today.
Weight training burns body fat too. And the more muscle you have, the more fat you're going to burn. You should never place cardio as precedent over weight training. It's always the opposite.
Yes.
Weight training takes precedent. Burn your calories there. Build more muscle. Cardio is your secondary, always.
If the only thing I'll add is if you're 20% fat, it means your diet needs to change, don't add cardio.
Absolutely.
Change your diet.
Yeah.
The biggest factor there is clearly the diet, but he shouldn't be neglecting training and just going balls to walls with cardio, because you're going to get the complete opposite effect you're looking for.
Yeah, that's
also.
Go ahead, Ben. Sorry.
If he says 20%, I'm going to guess he's more like 25, 26%. No, fucking true. There's one point.
Estimates 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Would you rather fight a bear on land or a shark in the water? You get a 3-inch knife.
Bear on land, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all fucking bodybuilders. None of us can swim that good in water to fight a shark.
Yeah, I would just sink. I'd be dead.
Just sink. You'd be fucked. You know.
The shark wouldn't have to do anything. I just stop like paddling water after like 30 seconds.
Sit there and wait till we drown and then eat us.
Yeah. At no point do I want to fight any animal in the fucking water.
Fuck no.
I don't need. Wait. I don't need to fight any animal in the water. You put me in the water for long enough, I'm drowning anyway.
Okay,
right?
But okay, I have a caveat. You're gonna die either way. I think it might be better to be eaten by a shark.
No,
that bear's gonna rip your head off in seconds. Don't worry about it.
You're gonna be fucking ripped up. You'll be done. Yeah. He's gonna bite your throat out or something.
Yeah, what's that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio where he tears the shit out of his back?
Revenant.
Right. Yeah. I don't know if I can.
Wait. There was an Instagram page that's like called Real Nature or something like that. And they showed a guy
his face bit off.
Yeah, I saw that.
And they had half his face. Yeah. Oh my God. And he survived.
But that's what I'm saying. He survived. So imagine now you're like fighting this bear. It's torn your back to shit. You're still alive. At least if you're in the water with a shark, it eats you.
Hang on, you're still wait, but you're still alive.
Nah, man. It's gonna.
You're saying
I'd rather be mauled to death than have like the potential of like being kind of half eaten and then drowning.
Yeah. You're exactly.
If I'm worst, man, I don't want to do that shit. I'd rather just be fucking mauled and bleed out and be.
Can you imagine that death?
Yeah. At least I'm still on land. Yeah.
Still on land. You got dry feet.
Really?
Yeah. Come on.
And then
Think about a great white shark, man. It can literally just bite you in half.
Okay, look at that. Think of it this way. Think of it this way. You're stood in front of a bear and it's charging at you. You have options.
Yeah,
You're in the water. You're in the water, and there's a shark, and you can see it swimming at you. What? You can't jink left or right.
But you just made my point. So if I'm on land and there's a bear, I have options, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to try and run away. I'm going to try and fight back. I may last 2.5 minutes, and then it's going to kill me anyway. But I've just endured.
No, you could potentially like jump off a small. Like you could hide. You could do. You can't. Where are you going to hide in the water?
I guess if you have a 3-inch, but if I have a 3-inch knife, I can stab the shark in its eye.
Yeah, and then what? And then just drown in the middle of the fucking ocean.
Yeah, and then bite. It's still going to bite you in half anyway.
Ian's like, yeah, but you still got to swim to shore afterwards.
Yeah, then you're going to be so tired from trying to fucking stab the shark, you're just going to drown anyway. So fuck that shit.
All right, you guys win. All right. What is your preferred needed amount of quality sleep? I think it's different for everybody, no?
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know.
6.
I'm a 6 guy.
I'm a 6 or 6 to 7. Yeah.
Do you guys ever deal with nausea after training? Seems like.
Wait, I gotta ask. Sorry, I gotta add. Are you guys nappers at all though?
I have been lately. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you nap, Ben?
If I get in the car and Denise is driving, I'm out.
You're out.
I'm like a baby.
For me, usually I do like my 6 hours, and I'll get up and and I don't force myself to get up. I'll just get up because I'm hungry. I'll get up. I'll do my cardio. I'll have breakfast, and after breakfast, I usually pass out for like an hour.
Exactly. That's exactly what I do.
Yeah.
I sleep after breakfast every day.
I think it's just my body's waking me up because I'm hungry. Yeah. So once I have breakfast and I feel full, I can go. What's wrong?
Piss again.
Oh, okay. Do you guys ever deal with nausea after training? Seems like whenever I have intense training sessions, I get pretty nauseous afterwards. Nutrition beforehand is solid. Pre-workout meal, carbs, protein, usually EAs, intra-workout. Any thoughts on cause remedy for nausea?
I mean, I get that sometimes maybe I'm doing like a hard leg day or something, but I find it more is like whatever I'm drinking intra training is more of a culprit. If I'm trying to drink carbs or aminos or something like that, you ever get that feeling when you're doing like a hard leg day and you're like, I just want to drink like cold water. Like I don't want these aminos anymore. I just want like to chug cold water. I think that's the feeling when it's just the product that you're drinking is there's so much blood in your legs, or whatever the big muscle is, and it's not in your stomach, kind of help assimilate the stuff. I think you need to, your body just wants like water, not these like products in it. So I think, maybe just cut your EAAs on those days that you're feeling that nausea. That might help. I mean, that's the first step.
That's the one day, like I have intra R3 that my company makes. And the only day I don't use it is on leg days.
Yeah.
Because I can't drink. If I do put it in my thing, I barely fucking drink any of it because I just want water.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to plug your blood shot.
Yeah. You tried it?
I don't give a shit right now. I used it pre-show. I told you, I even texted you this. I don't give a shit right now. Okay, for everyone out there, I'm no longer with Redcon 1, right? So, whatever. I texted you that picture.
Yeah. Oh, when you were full at the show.
Finals. Yeah. Before finals. And I said, because I didn't use any before pre-judging.
Yeah.
But before finals, I was like, screw it. I thought I was in third. And
yeah.
I was like, fuck it, I'll go for broke. And I started pumping up, and I'm like, oh, jeez. And then Denise was like backstage with me, so she snapped that picture on her phone.
Yeah.
And I actually didn't see it. I wish she'd shown me it.
Yeah.
Before I'd gone out, because if I'd have seen that picture, I'd have been like, "Oh, I'm good to go."
More confident.
So,
that's cool. Yeah. I would say Ian's right. Whatever you're drinking, but also pay attention to if you're taking a lot of stimulants beforehand, because sometimes if I take a pre-workout that's super high in stimulants,
yes, absolutely,
it'll fuck me up. I'll get nauseous for it, and I think honestly, man, sometimes it's not the product. Sometimes it's just when you train hard. Like, I could do just water pre and intra, and I could still be nauseous after a leg day. So
yeah, I agree.
But more often than not, I think Ian's right. I think it's either a stimulant factor or your intra.
Yeah,
it could be just shitty quality too. If you have an EAA that's made from sourced poorly, it could be shit, and that could be causing your bloat. So try some different EAAs from different companies and see, that might help. Who has a better shot of squeezing in the top 3 in Spain? We already covered that.
Who was between?
It was Reagan or Raphael.
Yeah.
HGH before bed or in the morning. Also, you ever split the dosage or all at once?
in the morning. If you have to do it once, I would do it in the morning.
I agree.
And if you split?
I only split if it's more. If you're doing like more than 3 or 4 IUs, I would split. If you're doing like 5, 6, 7, whatever, I'd split. If you're doing 2, like you don't need to do 1 IU twice a day. You know.
But I'm asking is if you split, do you do morning and like post workout, or do you morning?
Yeah,
I do post workout.
Morning and post. Okay. Yeah, morning and post.
I can easily put on more mass, but I'm having a hard time to gain strength. Anything wrong, or could this be totally normal?
Well, it's always mass.
It's always easy to put on weight. Getting stronger takes time.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to come down to his training. I mean, like, what are you doing in your training? Are you properly progressively overloading? Are you, what kind of movements are you doing? I mean, there's a lot of things in there.
Yeah, that's a little hard to answer. So we're going to, there's not enough information.
We need more context. Yeah.
If you're gaining weight and it's fat weight, it's not going to make you stronger. So.
Yeah. Biggest piece of advice to be successful in business of bodybuilding.
That's all you, bro.
Honestly, I would just say consistency.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds really vague, but the reason I say that is very simple. So I did the t-shirt thing for many years, but I did it off and on. Was never successful until I decided to do it on 100%. So this is the thing I'm going to give everybody, this one little piece of advice. When you put something out, whether it be like you're starting a YouTube channel, or you're putting out t-shirts, or you're doing coaching, or whatever the fuck you're doing, nobody's going to buy your shit. One person might buy your shit. 2 people might buy your shit. The more consistent you are and the more you build that base, then nobody, unless you're a phenom, like you're a Phil Heath, nobody puts out a shirt and has like $30,000 in sales the first month. Yeah. Nobody does.
Bumstead does, but not many other people.
Yeah, like unless you're Chris Bumstead, you look like a model and you're fucking Mr. Olympia. That doesn't happen. So if you're a regular fucking guy like me or Ian or Ben, you have to start at 0 and just be as fucking consistent as you can. And no matter how demoralizing it can be, because it can be, because
it's patience with consistency.
I'll tell you guys, man, I put the t-shirt business out when I started. We were selling like $200 or $300 a month in shirts. That's like 6 shirts. You know what I mean? So it's like 10 shirts. It's not, you're like, oh fuck, I have 300,000 people on my Instagram. How did I only sell 10 fucking shirts?
Yeah.
Or one water jug, you know?
Or one water jug, yeah. And then you start to get demoralized. You're like, well, maybe all these people maybe they're fake followers. Maybe they're not real. Maybe they don't want to buy my stuff. Maybe they just like to use me for training information. More often than not, it's just that your product hasn't been out long enough. Nobody's heard about it. Nobody knows if it's going to be around tomorrow. And nobody knows how much effort you're putting into it. So start with the 10 people, and eventually that will build to 15, 20, 200, 300, 600, and so on. So consistency is the only part that matters.
Agreed.
How does James feel that Rami's in the show? Have you talked to him about that?
Flying fuck.
Well, no, I don't think he's scared. I think he's excited though, from what I know.
Yeah. So I spoke to Patrick, and they actually he was yesterday when I got off the phone to you the other day, and then Patrick voice noted me, and we were just talking about James, because I said I think he's a real threat, and he was like, we are literally just not even worried about where we place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All we're doing is trying to just execute and time and put him on stage, and whatever happens.
That's the best way to be, man. That's when I've looked my best, is when I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to focus on everything I can fucking do and let the judges decide.
Yeah, because I mean, you have to have that confidence when you look like James does in these shots, that knowing that if you come in the way that you can, and you just focus on perfecting the things you can, you will be in the mix, and even if you're not, I mean, you can't control that, but as long as you control those variables, I mean, James looks fantastic. He knows he's improved a ton. Him and Patrick have a lot to be proud of. And I mean, that's really all there is at that point, right?
I think the mentality this time, like I said before, when James made that jump from being an amateur to a pro, he recognized that he was undersized, right? So he was playing the game according to who he thought he was going to be up against.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, oh, okay. So in this instance, if this had been 2 years ago, he'd been like, oh, Rami's doing it, so I've got to be big to be able to stand next to Rami. Now he's not doing that. Now he's playing his own game. He said, I look great regardless. I'm just going to nail it.
Yeah.
I think it's a big shift.
Scenario: you die, you stand at St. Peter's door, and he asks, you to give a reason to let you into heaven, what would it be?
This is some deep philosophical shit. I don't know if I'm ready. This is too early in the day for this kind of stuff. I need to fucking do some drugs, some mushrooms or something.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe in all that shit, but anyway, if we do,
I haven't lived long enough. I can't answer this yet.
Ben, why should you go to heaven?
I don't believe in that kind of stuff. But what I will say is,
let's play the
mentality. My mentality is, I tried to live a life that I could look back on and be happy with what I left behind. And if that wasn't good enough, then I misinterpreted what I was supposed to be doing on this planet.
I misinterpreted what you wanted, God. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I think, like, because my family's very religious, and Denise's family, we're in Texas, so fuck everyone here is.
Yeah.
It's God, guns, and football. So I don't care about that, because I know religious people that are shitty arseholes, and then I know non-religious people who are good fucking people. And I don't care what you believe in. I care if you're a good person.
Sure.
Be a good person, be honest, have integrity, and the rest will take care of itself.
I agree with Ben 100%. That's what I would say to them. I'd be like, look, I didn't lie, cheat, or steal. Let me in.
Yeah. The best person I could. Yeah.
Well, I didn't fucking,
I'm sorry I didn't believe in you, but you didn't really give me a lot to go on.
All right. When would you guys say that your training had changed to a new level, and why was that? When did you start seeing the most improvements? Mine was when I stopped drinking and partying.
Mine was Luke.
Mine, I think mine came when I realized I could actually be a pro. So I started stepping away from the drugs and alcohol and actually just focusing on bodybuilding.
Yeah. My progression in bodybuilding has been extremely linear. I mean, I've improved basically almost the exact same amount every year. I've got 5-6% better. I place a little better every year. I look a little bigger. I look a little, I've just been very progressive. I mean, I don't really, the biggest improvement I made was in the 2017, 2018, because I didn't compete there. I took that time off when I started working with Matt, because 2016, I was like, hey, I need to be bigger. So I took that year off, and then I came back in 2018. Then I started placing well then, I was like Indy and qualified for the Olympia one Spain that year and stuff. But I mean, that came down to nothing more than just the time away from competing, focused on growth, that consistency of growing and eating and trying to progress instead of, dieting down, back up and blah, blah, blah. So, I can't say that anything, there wasn't any training differences there. It was just the time was dedicated towards growing and not competing.
I got a question then. So I'm curious, because I don't remember seeing your off season. How big, how kind of sloppy did you get? I know you're a pretty lean guy even when you're in your off season.
Yeah.
It doesn't get sloppy.
No, that's not what I'm asking. I'm saying, what's the sloppiest he got, if he can recall, where he was pushing, even if it was back in the early, because you said you've done a dirty off season, right? I've done one of those before. I think probably this was my worst. And I probably should do a side by side where I was 292, and I looked at it the other day and I was like,
I'm gonna sound good.
I don't think I've ever seen Ian out of shape.
That's what I'm wondering. I want to see.
Honestly, I think the mitigating factor for me here is I just can't eat enough to get that fat.
Yeah.
My metabolism's so crazy, and I'm not a humongous eater.
But you're also not like a food guy. You're not.
I was about to say it. I'm not a garbage food guy. So.
But I'm Italian and Chinese. I grew up family or events are solely based around food, and it's big. And
you know what, Ben? You think that's what it is? I know you said that. I think that's what my problem is. It's all my family's fault.
Well, it's partly my heritage, background, culture, and it's coupled with the fact that I'm a greedy cunt.
Because listen, this is I'm actually bringing up a serious point. So I'm from a Muslim background, even though I'm not religious, but my parents were very religious. So there was no drinking or anything like that. Any events had to do with food.
Oh yeah.
Every time there was any event of any sort, birthday, holiday, whatever celebration, my mom,
aunts and uncles are bringing.
Yeah, it's like Italian people. Yeah. My mom would put out a spread, there'd be fucking 8 courses on it.
Yeah.
So it's I learned from a really young age, food was the fucking thing.
Food was everything. Food was,
Yeah.
it was part of your whole, like, coming together.
It's
and
just a part of the culture. Yeah. It's not even, it wasn't like a thing. It wasn't like a thing you do to sustain yourself. It was a thing that you did.
It was a social.
Yeah.
That was the social. I mean, we used to do it to a point when I was born, we were quite wealthy. We had a big house, and every single weekend, it was like, the only thing I can compare it to was every Sunday was Thanksgiving at my dad's house.
It's still like that now for me.
We had cousins, aunts and uncles. Everyone would come because we had a big house, and everyone would come and there'd be food everywhere, and it would be like that. It'd be like Christmas Day or Thanksgiving every fucking Sunday.
Minus
my whole childhood.
Minus like the aunts and uncles, like the extended family. Every Sunday, my immediate family gets together, and my mom makes a fucking spread. Like when I'm dieting, I can't go home on Sundays.
But I know, like, a lot of my Persian friends are the same. A lot of my Egyptian friends are the same.
So basically, if I'm fat, it's my family's fault. That's what we're saying.
And it goes the other way, because my family also is like not big eaters. I mean, my mom eats like as well as I do. My dad eats like one meal a day. You know, I mean, my parents have never been big eaters. We were never like dirty food people or like dessert people at home. Like, it's never been.
Hey, answer me this. Is that a white thing? Because all my white friends, they don't have
because Melissa's family is completely opposite of mine.
Okay.
They're all huge foodies that love to eat, and like it's a very, very, very different.
Okay.
This is the fattest I've ever been.
That's chubby for you.
Yeah, for you, but still not.
It's not bad, no.
Shocking.
But it's,
do you know what you weighed there? Yeah, no, that's not fat.
No, there's barely any love handles there. What are you talking about?
That's the fattest. That's the fattest I've been.
That's like 8 weeks out for me.
Where's
What was you weighing? Do you know?
I was probably 280, 285 there.
Yeah. You know what? It's funny. It's the cultural thing, because I have a lot of people on the podcast, and I always ask them, "Are you a food guy or not?" And a lot of times people will say no, but usually it's the white guys who are like, no. And I'm like, is it a cultural thing? Because I know Arabs and Italians are like very, very like food.
And Chinese is the same thing. Like, and honestly, because all the women would get together in the kitchen, and they'd all make the food, and it'd be like everyone would eat at 2:00, and all the guys would then go into the living room, put the TV on, and pass the fuck out. Everyone would be like, my uncles, my dad, they'd all be like watching a new film. 20 minutes in, they all passed out. Kids would be running around, and then like dessert gets served. Everyone goes in again, but it would be like you eat until you pass out, and then you sleep, and you wake up and you go, "What's left over? What's for next?" Like,
that's right.
And you go again.
Exactly the same thing.
The only thing,
go ahead, Ben. Go ahead, Ian. Sorry.
The only thing I ever like ate like crappy when I was a kid. So after my parents split up, my dad didn't know how to cook at all. So like when we'd be at his house, like sometimes on like a Friday or Saturday evening, me and my dad, we'd literally just sit on the couch and eat entire, like the 2-liter jugs of ice cream.
Oh, it's awesome.
Watch a movie. And that would be that would be dinner. That would be it. We just sit downstairs.
That's great.
We put on a good movie. We'd both eat a full 2-liter of ice cream, and then we'd pass out at like 10, wake up on the couch at like 2 a.m. Be like, oh fuck, we should go to bed. You know, that was it. Just me and my dad. That was the same shit every weekend.
When I was at university, the only meal I could make myself at that point was lasagna. Yeah. So I lived in a house for 6. It was easy. It was easy and cheap, and I could make it for the whole house.
Okay.
So I'd make it at like 6 p.m. The guys would start drinking some beer because we were going out that night. I'd do a lasagna, and I'd have a loaf of bread, and I'd be sitting eating like a lasagna sandwich. Then I'd get a 2-liter tub of soft scoop ice cream, and I'd eat the whole thing. And then I'd start drinking to go out. And then we go out.
How do you get drunk?
But I did that.
I was gonna say, how do you even get your food so close?
Dude, when I drank, I would fast all day.
Yeah. Because I didn't drink until the first drink I ever had was at university. I didn't drink until I went there, right? Everything hit me like a fucking ton of bricks.
Oh, okay.
And I was I was 130 pounds.
Yeah, so it didn't matter. You probably needed the food, or else you'd have fucking passed out.
Yeah. But those just reminded me of that 2-liter tub, because it was the cheapest, the soft scoop, cheapest one in the supermarket.
One thing I did do when I first started kind of bodybuilding, like I was, like getting into it, but I hadn't competed yet. My girlfriend at the time, I live in Ottawa. She had moved to Kingston, which is like 2 hours away from here because she was going to school there. So I had just got a car. Like this was just first year out of high school. So I would drive there on the weekends. And this is still at the age where like my mom would buy my food and stuff. But she wouldn't give me cash to go buy food when I was gone. She didn't trust me that I would just like keep the money and do something bad with it. So she would give me Subway gift cards. So when I'd go to Kingston, I'd be there for like 3 days. I would eat 5 meals a day of Subway. Literally 5 straight meals, Subway, every day.
1 foot at a time?
Yeah, a full foot long every time.
Yeah, but never 2 feet?
Are we making some kind of joke here?
No.
Is this some kind of sexual innuendo?
It's not a dick joke.
I would never eat 2 subs, no.
Oh, okay. No, because me and Luke used to order 2 or 3 feet at a time, so I was just wondering.
I would do whatever 2 hours. So like I'd wake up and then, go there first thing in the morning. I'd have like, something a little more breakfasty feeling. And then I might have like a steak and cheese for lunch and then have like a chicken teriyaki.
5 different subs.
Yeah. I'd have the same 4 or 5 every day. The steak and cheese I would usually get twice a day. And then I'd have 2 others. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never had a Subway ever.
Ireland.
I've had a lot.
Ireland just ruled Subway bread not to be bread.
Really?
Yeah, they classify
with sugar in it.
The Supreme Court of Ireland just deemed Subway bread is not bread because the sugar content's too high.
Interesting.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Sorry, completely off topic. Well, not off topic.
I can't deal with the smell. Like Luke used to go and I'd be like, I got to stand outside.
Oh, dude, the smell like when you go in. I love the smell like I'm eating it, but I hate when I leave and it's on my clothes. I'm like, it's like
that smell. I can't. Yeah, we were in one when we went to Melbourne for the Arnold. There was Subway right across from us. So post show, he was like, I'm like, he wanted to go get the cookies because apparently the cookies from Subway are amazing.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I wanted cookies. I was like, you go and get the cookies. I can't go in that fucking shop.
Yeah.
Because the smell makes me feel sick.
I don't know if any other people can relate to this. Go ahead, Fouad.
Well, I was just going to say, we're talking about food so much now. I just started a new diet, and now I'm probably going to go way off the rails today. Because you got to be thinking about all this shit junk food now.
I don't know who can relate to this, but when you get like the Home Depots that have Subways in them?
Yeah.
And that smell when you walk in the front of those, because you kind of get like the wood chips and like wood shavings and like kind of like good smell of Home Depot. Plus you get like the baking bread. Like that first entrance into Home Depot, that is the fucking best.
Yeah. See, he's a food guy.
He
just doesn't know
Subway. Subway guy.
Oh, now I'm 2 hours after a meal. I'm starting to feel it now.
Yeah, we gotta. Okay, let's do a couple more. Phil Heath's comeback will be featured in a documentary produced by Dwayne Johnson. Do you think the judges will favor him more, at least place him in the top 5 because of the hype? Well,
someone asked me this on my Q&A yesterday.
He's going to be in the top 5. I mean, he's going to be in the top 5 regardless. So that's kind of a dumb thing to
70% Phil is top 5.
But I don't think it means he's going to win. Like, I don't think they're going to be like, oh, he was in a documentary, we got to make him win.
And this is what I said on my thing is the judges are judging what's in front of them. They're not judging. They don't give a shit about a documentary or anything like that. It means nothing to them. They're judging what's in front of them on the stage that day. The documentary means nothing.
Yeah, I agree. Let's do one more. Okay, if you could live just one day as someone else, who would it be and the reason why?
Oh, jeez. I don't even know how to answer that.
I'd be The Rock for a day.
I knew you were going to say The fucking Rock.
Why wouldn't I?
Why wouldn't I? Answer though. I mean, that's kind of like a straight up like you can't go wrong there.
Why wouldn't I? He's got his own fucking gym. He lives in the fucking like in Hawaii.
Okay, so you want to? So hang on. So you want to live as someone else for one day, and you're going to go so similar.
I want to go to the gym.
I'm thinking. I want a completely different life experience to going to the gym.
Yeah, but I like my life.
No, I know, but you get to go back to it tomorrow. So for one day...
Yeah, but it's not because of the gym.
You want to be The Rock and go to his gym.
No, the reason I want to be The Rock is because I can go... I have my own jet. I can fucking go anywhere, buy any car I want, drive the shit out of it, and then go to the gym, then get back in my supercar, my stinky-ass clothes, and drive around some more in my supercar, and then go buy a house, and I could do anything. The guy can do anything he wants.
I want to be like Mike Tyson for a day. Knowing that I can walk around and knock the shit out of any fucker.
That's a mind that I do not want to be inside.
I would beat the shit out of you. I would beat the shit out of you as Dwayne Johnson.
That's a head I would not want to go inside, though.
Over Mike Tyson. Okay, let's have this debate then. Mike Tyson or The Rock?
Well, it's not a boxing match.
Oh, if it's just like a free fight,
It's a street fight.
Then I give it to The Rock.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. If it's a street fight,
I think
Tyson's biting everything he can get his mouth on. You gotta remember, this fucker turned that Evander Holyfield into a fucking street fight. He bit his ear off.
Do you think, actually, that's actually not a bad question. Do you think Mike Tyson could beat Dwayne Johnson in a street fight? Because in a street fight, you're going to end up on the ground. You're going to end up wrestling. It's not a boxing match.
I mean, Tyson, yeah. I think if it comes into a street fight, I mean, Tyson's obviously got the edge of like that mentality, and he knows what it's like, obviously, a lot more to be hit and stuff. I mean, The Rock was in the WWE, so even though a lot of it's acted, they still do take some hits.
They take a lot of hits, man.
They take a lot of fucking shit. So, I mean, he knows, and his athleticism is, I think as total athleticism, he's going to be far superior to Mike Tyson. He's a lot taller, he's a lot bigger, he's a lot stronger. So, I don't know.
I'd also wager Mike Tyson has had a hell of a lot more street fights.
I would agree there. Yeah.
So, yeah, he's a boxer, but I reckon he can fucking
he's
fight.
10, 12 years older. So
Yeah, he's also an old man now.
Yeah.
We're not saying Mike Tyson in his prime. We're saying Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson now can still swing and bang.
He can still swing, but The Rock is young and well, not young, but younger, and he's in really good shape. I mean, yeah, that'd be an interesting fight. I mean, there's a big height disadvantage there too, for sure. But
I wonder what The Rock would say if he was not being diplomatic. If he said, if you asked,
I think he'd be like, "No, Mike's taking my head off."
No, I think The Rock is confident enough. He'd say that he'd whoop Mike Tyson's ass.
Do you think it was smart that The Rock backed the Democratic Party?
No.
I don't care what your guys' beliefs are. I just want to know if you guys think it's smart for somebody who's so such in the public eye to pick a side when things are so divided.
Yeah, no, I think this is the thing a lot of people liked about The Rock and like about certain celebrities like that is that they're very just like they're them. They do they're not involved in that bullshit in the politics. He pushes his, like go get him attitude, and like that kind of like energetic, fun side that he has, and he's not into all that bullshit. And I think when he stepped into that realm, it was just a bad idea.
I think he should have kept quiet. But the same thing like Jordan, when Michael Jordan did it. Do you remember when he did that whole thing with the shoes? And everyone was like, there's no need. Like no one cared no one cared who you were voting for. Don't worry about it.
No, people were pressuring him, and he said conservatives buy shoes too. Meaning I don't want to get involved.
Yeah.
So I think Jordan played it right. I think Jordan played it right.
Right, but I'm saying Jordan's one still got backlash. And he was trying to be diplomatic.
They got backlash. Yeah, he got backlash. He got backlash for the opposite reason. They wanted him to pick a side, and he was like, "I'm not picking sides."
Right, but I'm saying Ian's right. Anytime someone like that, you're better off. There's no.
Well, I'm not talking about public perception because you're going to get backlash no matter what.
No matter what, for sure.
Like Jordan got it because he didn't take a side, and Rock's getting it because he did take a side. But what I'm saying is, it's as a person, if you were The Rock or if you were Michael Jordan, what do you think you would say? And if you say, well, people like it better when you don't say anything, does that kind of fucking bother you as a person that I'm not allowed to say my opinion?
Do you think do you think that's a truthful Rock opinion though, or do you think that's like him being coaxed into that? Somehow.
No, that's a different argument altogether. I actually think it could be a little bit of him being like, hey, nudge, nudge, here's some money.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I don't think he would do that on his own accord.
But if let's take that out of it for a second. If you were The Rock, do you think you should be allowed to say how you feel?
I mean, you're allowed to do whatever the fuck you want, but then people are allowed to do whatever flashback they want.
But I think that's the point. I think it's the trade-off with having that status and celebrity. Like, you can't just go to the store. You can't just go. That's the trade-off.
You can't just say whatever you want.
You can't just go out and hang out with your family at the beach because you're going to get mobbed. That's the cost of being The Rock, right?
Yeah.
I think there's
The Rock wasn't in the Michael Jordan predicament where like people were looking to him for like, hey, what's your opinion? He stepped in and gave that without people being like, well, what's The Rock think? Rock, who are you voting for? No one was that wasn't a big topic.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
He stepped in and gave his opinion. And that's where I think the difference is,
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. All right, guys. Been a couple hours. Let's wrap it up. We will hopefully I'll be cheering for James. You know what? I was thinking about doing a live stream. Are you guys up for that?
Yep. Oh, Saturday?
Well, I don't know what time the shows is and all that stuff is.
It's 6 hours ahead of us, right?
Okay. Let's figure out the timing and everything, and if we can make it happen, we'll make it happen. You can't do that.
I'm filming up in Dallas all
that's
week,
right.
the next 5 days. Yeah.
Okay, well, Ian, if we have time, and I'll figure out the schedule, and we'll see if we can figure it out.
Sure.
Okay, guys.
Okay, we'll see you.
Good one. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Right.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, share with your friends, and like the video. And if you get a chance, check out the description for all the different links to all the different places you can find Hostile and myself. And lastly, check out hostile.com for our new line of supplements and all of our apparel and gear. Thanks again for watching.